Hello everybody, Jake, your resident content cowboy here, yeehaw, and it's not Monday. On Mondays we do tier lists, but I did this one early with Ghatule and Adesu from Nouns Esports, one of the best teams in the world, some of the best players in the world, so this is a full competitive tier list. I hope you enjoy it, and also on Wednesdays, we wear pink.
Okay, you should just know that we don't do this a lot, so this is like a really huge deal.
We want to invite you to have lunch with us every day for the rest of the week.
Oh, it's okay. Coolness. So we'll see you tomorrow.
On Wednesdays, we wear pink.
Okay, guys, we start first with the attackers. In the first, we have Venusaur as an attacker. So I'm gonna put him in the B tier first, and we will discuss about Venusaur and the competitive scene and what Venusaur can do, what he's capable of, and what is his weakness. And this is gonna start with what Venusaur can do in the...
Can do nothing. Like in a meta where Mine and Mew is dominating, of those two characters are so strong against Venusaur Petal Dance. Like literally Venusaur has no chance against Mine. Like he power swap Venusaur, he decreases the numbers of Venusaur, and you cannot move. Like the worst enemy against Venusaur is CC, and Mine has a lot of CC. There's no room for Venusaur in this meta right now. And he plays Solar Beam. For that, you play Mew. Like Mew has a less strong Solar Beam, but it has less cooldown and he has more survivability, so it's better. That's it.
So where would you put him in the...
It's B. Like this character, you should not use this character right now.
So do you think it's balanced, it's fine? That's why you don't put it at C? Or how would you describe it?
Like the character is good, has good tools, but since Mine and Mew are there, and those two characters are so strong against Venusaur has no run in the meta right now. Maybe after the nerfs, he can be pick. Because the character is not bad at all. If he power farms and gets level 15, of course he's really strong character that if you support him, is going to be really good. But he cannot do nothing against mine right now. It's just bad.
Yeah, isn't this the story of a lot of what's happening in the game right now? Is so many Pokemon can't do anything against, you know, this wall of Mr. Mime. I feel like Venusaur is in such a tough spot. I ran into a team that was running Venusaur and Mew the other day, and they were just kind of double solar beaming with this really heavy front line of Mime and Snorlax and stuff, and that seemed decent, but it does seem like Venusaur is just in a tough spot, which is weird because it's a character that wants level 13. It's always gonna get it on this new map, but it does just feel like it's running into these super powerful Pokemon right now. So yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I think B is a pretty reasonable place for it.
Yeah, like, I agree as well. Like, I think Venusaur is a really good Pokemon when the meta changes again. Because right now, Mime is so aggressive. He shut downs a lot of Pokemon. Like, Venusaur is one of them. And if you wanna play Solar Beam, like Adesu said, you just play Mew. You have more Solar Beam, you have more damage, and you can use it more. Like, you could run Solar Beam, like Venusaur with Giga Drain, but again, like Mew has agility, she can run away. She can also switch their abilities, and she's also an attacker.
Yeah.
I also think like Venusaur is just a B right now, because I think he has some uses when the meta is gonna change, and even if you pick him in competitive scene, even though it's not that strong, it has uses. Like all of a sudden it uses ultimate and kills everyone, because you won't expect it, because the ultimate is also really strong. And you play Amplifier, for example. Alright, moving on to the next Pokemon.
Yeah, but for that,
Yeah.
you need the enemy team to be together, and in this
That's
map, the enemy team is usually not together in a group. They are split.
Good note. Okay, the next Pokemon is Gardevoir. I'm gonna start with it first. I personally think that in the competitive scene, Gardevoir is C tier. Because when you play Gardevoir, you wouldn't need XP in the beginning. Once you get level 5, you're gonna be really strong. But because the map is so big and it's so easy to go to the enemy jungle, like if Aggredent and the Snorlax invades Gardevoir at the same time, and Gardevoir doesn't get XP, and she falls behind and the enemy jungler gets XP, for example like a Glaceon, then Gardevoir can't come back. She can't make any places, she needs the team to support her, and that's also an issue. If the team needs to support the jungler is not that strong. She's not good on lane, and I feel like Gardevoir has some good uses, but in my opinion she's C because a lot of speedsters, allrounders, and everyone that can counter Gardevoir can just destroy Gardevoir in competitive scene. Because if the team needs to support Gardevoir, And like while the team is supporting Gardevoir, our team gets XP. It's not useful to pick Gardevoir in my opinion.
In my opinion, it's not worse than Venusaur for sure. Like, I don't think he deserves that bad spot. Like, Gardevoir actually works pretty well against mine. Like, you can outrange mine every time, and I don't feel like it's bad against Mew either. Since those two characters are in every game, plus Glaceon, also I don't think Gardevoir is bad against Glaceon. Like, you can keep the range enough to get out of threat of these three Pokemons. Like, you have to be careful about Talonflame, Absol, or like those kinds of speedsters. I don't think the Gardevoir deserves C tier. I think it deserves like A minus maybe. But
Whoa.
not C tier.
Minus.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Wow, I mean, it's so I mean, it's so cool hearing these two different perspectives because I'm obviously not a competitive player like the two of you. So I play some 5 stacks. I play a lot of solo, duo, trio. I thought Gardevoir was going to come into this patch and do really poorly, and I often see it do fine. It seems to play at enough of a range and put out enough damage into sort of this big death ball that's running around. But what Ghatule said about these speedsters just kind of walking right up to it and deleting it, I feel like there are so many deletion machines in the game right now. Just a Pokemon walks up, it's like, goodbye, I'm 3 levels higher than you, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. And Gardevoir is such an easy Pokemon to delete. So I would, of course, you know, defer to either of you for a competitive take on this. But it's interesting that we have 1 C and 1 A minus, and my thought was that it was going to be pretty close to Venusaur. So whatever you guys feel makes the most sense.
Like,
Both of you, I would agree to put Gardevoir to B tier right now. Like, I don't think it's A minus because it gets shut down so easily.
That's what I also notice about Gardevoir, is it gets shut down really easily. You can't play it too many places well, except the center area. But beyond that, I actually felt, you know, seeing it inside matches, I was kind of surprised at how useful it was. But I thought A minus also seemed high. So whatever sounds good to you boys.
like, you have a point. Like, it's easy to kill Gardevoir with speedsters, but you can a Gardevoir can also keep and track where the speedsters are. Like, like Gardevoir cannot make easy for the speedsters to get her. So,
But like, watching from a competitive perspective, do you think you would pick Gardevoir over Glaceon?
I mean,
Well, you kind of run into the big problem, right? Whereas you can say this for 90% of the roster. And that is the big problem where you go, well, would you pick it over Glaceon? No. Would you pick it over Mime? No. Would you pick it over Mew? No.
Yeah.
So you do this to everyone, which is a totally legitimate thing to say, by the way. I totally agree with it. It is just also tough when you're thinking, well, where do you put this Pokemon then? If we're saying all of these Pokemon sort of don't have a job because of a few select overpowered Pokemon.
So like, my question is, do you think you could make this Pokemon work in a team, like in a competitive team composition where Gardevoir shines?
Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
like, would you agree
could
to
work.
B or would you go higher? Because for
Like,
me,
could work, but it's not easy at all. Like, it's getting complicated where other characters will make it easier. But I'm pretty sure it's better than Venusaur. Way better than Venusaur, actually.
I mean, I'd be happy moving it to B plus if that's. I feel like A minus sounds high, but then again, you know, you could see a team really make a lot of different Pokemon shine. It's got some cool stuff. Obviously, for a Pokemon that needs a lot of experience, there's a lot of experience to get, so that's really nice for Gardevoir. But yeah.
yeah, I agree. Like, I talked about C because I wasn't really thinking about the pluses that Gardevoir give. I think Gardevoir, like Adesu said, can or like, if she knows the position and she knows her limits, she can out damage the Mime. Like, Mime can't go to her if she is careful. Like, if she's careful. If she's not careful enough, she's gonna get one shot. But,
Sadly.
Yeah.
It's hard to play, but it's not bad.
let's move on to our next Pokemon,
Let's do it.
Greninja.
Oh my. Like,
I will put it as S tier, and I'll let you talk for now.
this is so hard to actually. Like, Greninja is not good. It's not good against mine. And Mew is tanky enough to tank Greninja, and he can switch to Surf or Ultimate. Like, I don't find like Greninja can kill me or mine, which are in every game. Also, Glaceon can one-shot Greninja. I don't feel he's as here for sure. But it's true, like this Pokemon can farm and be out over level like every game because he's so fast at farming. Definitely he's good, but I don't think he says he should be A plus maybe one of the last of A plus. Like, yeah.
It's interesting that Adesu says that because my thought on Greninja is kind of the same thing. I see it in matches. Of course, it can farm like crazy. It's always going to be level 15. But I feel like the Unite move changes hurt Greninja a little bit, maybe more than you would expect, because it doesn't become kind of a crazy monster like it used to be when it unites. And then I also think whenever I see Greninja, it just runs into this iron wall, and it's really hard for it to do things against a Pokemon like Mime, Snorlax, which is extremely popular right now. That all being said, you still get those moments where Greninja can wipe an entire team. So it's not like it's bad, but I've been a little unimpressed by it. That being said, I have not seen the best teams running it. So maybe if I'm watching one of the best teams out there running it, I would go, oh wow, yeah, Greninja's still crazy. But I also don't think it's S. It doesn't strike me as completely overpowered.
You had a really good point there. Like, if someone should play Greninja right now, like the play style of Greninja right now is be sneaky, and wait for the perfect moment to go into the back lane. Like, you cannot actually try to kill the front lane. Like, you have to run out of the front lane because the front lane kills you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I agree as well, because I put it on S tier, so I can hear your thoughts, because putting it on S tier, like S tier is a high tier. Like there should be Pokemon that are really aggressive, not risky to play. In my opinion, Greninja is a really risky Pokemon. If you play it, you need to play it pixel perfect. Like, you don't need to play it pixel perfect, but the chances of getting a high lead is high, but also the chance of dying is also high. So when you have a high lead and you die multiple times in the game, you give a lot of XP to the enemies. But
Agree.
because Greninja is so good in, like after he gets level 7, the middle beasts are spawning at 8 minutes. The middle beasts like middle Swablu's are spawning, and they give a lot of XP. Once you get them, you deny the enemy XP as well, and getting a high XP lead.
Yeah,
so
but
you can go.
You can get killed by Heavy Slam and Solar Beam at the same time.
Yeah.
Middle of your surf as well, so be
So
careful.
like I feel like Greninja is in a good spot right now. If you are a really good Greninja, I feel like a Greninja's player can always improve. I used to be a Greninja player myself. I have the most games on Greninja on my main account in general, but I don't like to play Greninja because I don't want to play Pokemon that is risky to play. And if my team thinks it's not that good, I'm not gonna play it in a competitive scene. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do
we
you
all
think?
agree on
A
A+.
plus or A?
Yeah.
A plus.
One of the last of A plus, yeah.
Okay.
I think in between, but because it can get a level lead and really good Greninjas can dominate a game, A plus.
Yeah, the farming aspect is incredible. I mean, you can walk over the entire map. You just take all the experience insanely fast. So that's really impressive for Greninja. Yeah.
Moving on to Cinderace. I'm gonna put Cinderace to B plus.
Agree. Like, for me, it's a worse Greninja. Like, Cinderace is meant to kill front laners like really fast, but if the front lane is killing you, what is your work then? Also, his ultimate is really good for securing, but I feel like securing objectives in this map is not that palatable like in the previous map. So, no. No.
Yeah, that makes total sense. The secure isn't that valuable, which is going to be interesting when we start talking about some other Pokemon with massive secure that used to be really, really dominant. And interestingly enough, this Pokemon, it feels like it's set up to shred things like Snorlax and Mime and, you know, greedy Pokemon like that. But on this map, I just find that it keeps getting caught out. There's so many more places for things to hide, and there's so many more ways to get to some of these squishier Pokemon, it feels like, and I just haven't seen it provide as much value. It doesn't farm as fast as Greninja, so that feels pretty fair. Like A minus, B plus. I don't know. Seeing it next to Gardevoir is a little odd. It might be better than that, but yeah.
I also agree on the B plus because I think Cinderace is a good Pokemon. It has some uses, and I think Cinderace is one of the best, it's one of the best teamfight Pokemons. But because of the new map, it's so big, you don't know what objectives you go, you don't know, like it used to be, Cinderace get level 9, Cinderace get Dreadnought, and kills everyone bot lane and scores. And then goes space and pumps again. But because the map is so huge, and no one really teamfights anymore for huge objectives, because the objectives are not that valuable. Like, you whether split, farm, score. but Cinderace fights. He's not really scoring, so I think Cinderace has some good uses, but because Greninja can just jump into the enemies and shreds them and go somewhere else, take enemy farm, does whatever he wants because he gets invisible. Like Cinderace can't do it. He needs to run with someone to kill, for example, a tank. So I'll agree on putting him in B+,
Yeah,
right?
that seems fair.
Yeah.
Right. Next attacker is gonna be Cramorant. I will put Cramorant to A- right now. I'm gonna start with Cramorant. Watching competitive players like Atune playing Cramorant in ladder and in general, I think Cramorant has really good uses. I think Cramorant is a really strong Pokemon on the botlane side, and Cramorant is one of the few attackers that can actually protect the lane and can outsecure huge outsecures because whether like either he secures or he kills. Like he has a lot of damage output, and once he gets the blue buff on the botlane side, he can dominate the game really fast. He has a huge power spec on level 4, which is great because once you get level 4, you get easily level 4 on this map. You can do a lot of things, and when you get level 6, you're even stronger. And I feel like because Cramorant is so oppressive on either one side and can protect the lane as well, I think he's a really good Pokemon in the competitive scene. Also, his ultimate is really dominant in the team fights when you get protected. Like when you have a good positioning and use your ultimate, you do a lot of damage, and like people want to kill Cramorant, but if the Cramorant is good, there's so many walls and so many things you can hide and run away with. Like it gets out of things that you shouldn't get out. And I think that's what in Pokemon, like that's why Pokemon is so strong.
So you put Cramorant in A-, then you defend Cramorant. Like, I don't understand. Doesn't he need to be like one tier at least higher? Like, I don't feel this Pokemon is A- for sure.
Sure. I think I'm
Like-
gonna put it to A tier, like, yeah. Like, I just wanted to clarify that.
He's
I think
playing
Cramorant
mind
is a good
games
Pokemon.
with us at Desu. He's like, I'm gonna put it down here. What do you guys think?
Yeah, his mind game. Like, yeah, I completely agree with what Gatlu said. Like, when you play Cramorant, what you want to be is be annoying. You know that Cramorant cannot one-shot people. He's killed people like, how do you say it? Like exhausting, like being annoying. Like
Mhm.
you do one hit with dive, you take like
Yeah.
15% of HP, you do it again. Once the enemy it's like half HP, then you go all in. Like you don't go all in when the enemy has 100% HP. You want to be annoying, and you don't want to people catch you. You have a problem there. Like Glaceon actually is so strong against Cramorant, because Grayson doesn't care about the high mobility of Cramorant. He just auto attacks you. He kind of miss. He two shots you actually. That's dangerous for Cramorant. So that's why I don't think he's higher than that tier. But he's so good against Mew. He's so good against mine. Like people cannot catch you easily, and you are being annoying every time. And the ultimate is super good against Glaceon as well.
Yeah, I happen to agree. The biggest thing I agree with is this map gives so much outplay potential, especially to a Pokemon that can easily maneuver through the tall grass, over a wall, back over. And like you were saying, Adesu, it's like a war of attrition a little bit. You bounce back, you throw a little bit of damage, then you easily hop away from whatever's coming to you. So I think a good Cram is very, very good. I also think its Unite move in a weird way feels like it kind of got a buff because other people's Unite moves are worse. And this Unite move is kind of the same that it has been for a while, so it kind of got a nice little buff there. But you're right, against the Glaceon or something, like, you're in so much trouble. It can also jump, and if you're at half health, you're already gone near this thing. So yeah, that's true. I think Cram's actually pretty solid.
So the next Pokemon is gonna be Pikachu. I'm gonna put it on C tier for now. I think Pikachu personally is not that great. You saw it in Worlds. No, like Pikachu had the 0 pick rate in Worlds. There's a reason why no one wants to play Pikachu. I think Pikachu has some good uses, but I don't think it's that valuable over Pokemon. Like I always say over Pokemon. Like I feel like it's a like I think Aegislash is like can easily outsecure Pikachu and can run away. And because the map is so huge, like it used to be one creep, but right now on top lane side there are like 7 creeps, on bot lane side there are more creeps, they're spawning different timers. And I feel like I don't think Pikachu is that great. Also because of the reason that Mew has Electro Ball, for example, as well. I don't think the other ability is strong like Thunder and yeah.
Yeah, Thunder has a problem, and it's like it does not that much damage for the high cooldown it has. Like, but a good thing that Thunder has is the range. But even if it has a long range, there's other characters that actually are doing more damage and has more survivability than Pikachu. So I can understand what you said. I don't know if he deserves C tier. Like the ultimate is so good still, and Bolt Tackle just makes everyone mad. Like this ability is not bad at all. Bolt Tackle is super good actually. Against assassins and other stuff is still super good. But yeah, like the zero pick rate means like Pikachu is risky for sure. Like he was signing in early game, like
Yeah.
some metas ago, but right now you can see that other characters have very early game than this Pokemon. I don't know. Like I think the rat needs a buff.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's definitely low tier. No one's really playing it, obviously. I do agree with Adesu that Volt Tackle, I think, is actually the play. If you're going to use this Pokemon, you're going to use it. It's a serious amount of CC, and you can really isolate, you know, those squishier characters. It's always surprising when you're able to pull them out. Not surprising, I guess, is the right word, but you are able to set up some pretty interesting things with that move. That being said, it sits in this weird no man's land of what are you going to use, what are you going to replace in your team for a Pikachu? And I think that's the problem with this Pokemon is what are you going to swap? And the answer is probably nothing. So it's low. It's probably low there, but I bet kind of like Gardevoir, honestly, I think a team could devise a strategy around it, but unless you had a strategy set around it, you probably won't see it picked.
Now we put Ninetales.
I don't know this Pokemon, like I cannot value Ninetales.
Ghatule, why are you not starting with Ninetales?
Like I don't think Ninetales deserves C tier. Like I care about like other Ninetales players that since this map has a lot of walls, Blizzard is buff for sure. Like it's way better. Blizzard is super good because of this. But still, I think the Pokemon needs something. Like there was 2 games like during this week in which I got one-shot by Ninetales combo because this map has so many bosses. Like you face check a Ninetales in this map, you're going to have a really hard time. I think it's better than Pikachu and probably better than Venusaur.
Interesting. I mean, I've seen most of the time I see this played, it's still with Aurora Veil, and I think a lot of people are finding success with it, but I'm not seeing it in competitive play a ton. I actually think it is probably better than Pikachu, it feels like. It actually feels like Ninetales is okay, but they can probably buff this Pokemon again. It's weird, but a lot of the special attackers are back to being in sort of a weird spot again in the game.
Yeah, I think I would put Ninetales also on B tier rather than C tier as well, because like playing ladder and playing competitively, and like I feel like if you put the right strat with Ninetales and you put it on a lane where it's actually good and you don't put it on the opposite lane, it has some good uses, and it also can protect a lane like Cramorant, and it can just dominate a lane. But I feel like because other Pokemon outshine Ninetales, she doesn't really get.
Can you stop a Mime from scoring with Ninetales? I don't think so. Like when I played this Pokemon, like mine was still out securing me and scoring.
Yeah, like I also think like about this new map is all about kind of scoring, and if you play Ninetales, it's kind of hard to score if you don't run with your team. So like Cramorant can score alone. He can run to the enemy jungle and take the jungle, for example. But Ninetales, it's risky to do it with Ninetales because she's so slow. Like you can run X speed with her, but I think like exit tech or eject button could be better. So I feel like Ninetales is a pretty balanced Pokemon. I think if it gets a buff or something else, she's gonna get higher in the competitive scene. And because of the team, because Ninetales can fit in good team compositions, I think it's a great B tier. Like not B plus, but B.
Nah, I think he deserves a special tier for her, like trust tier. Especially for the Ninetales from lane.
I mean, I think B is pretty fair. I don't know. It's weird because it's almost like we're using Venusaur as a measuring stick for a lot of these Pokemon, which does make sense. Yeah. It's sort of a perennial B tier for like a lot of tier lists. Venusaur just hangs out in this B tier area, and you compare a lot of things to it. So It's tough. I'd probably rather have it on my team because it plays well in path early over Venusaur or something like that. But I do think with scoring being such an issue, when you have these Pokemon that aren't really very mobile at all, it's just tough. It's tough to want to pick them. Like you said, Cramorant's great because a dive Cramorant can run across half the map probably 3 times faster than Ninetales and can get away if it's not able to, get its job done. So I don't know. I don't know where you put a Pokemon like that in a competitive scene. B sounds fine to me, honestly.
Let's search for the attackers. The next attacker is gonna be
The Kaduji.
Yeah, the bird, Decidueye.
gonna be
Oh,
Sylveon.
never mind, Sylveon.
Yeah, Sylvean.
I didn't even see it. Didn't have the red background.
I will put Sylveon to A- and give it to the best Sylveon in the world.
Oh my god, yeah, Sylveon has a hard spot in this map and meta. Like, I don't like to play Sylveon against mine. I don't feel it's really that bad to play against mine, but if mine ults you, you need to ult to get out. Like, and if you get hit by power swap, you need to trigger it instantly at speed, and it's very oppressive like playing against mine. You cannot reach me, and if you reach me, he can just agility out of your hyper voice. Charizard one-shot you. Like, I don't feel like Sylveon is bad against Norlas, but it still struggles. Like, Sylveon was actually good for tearing down defenders like Blissey, like Slowbro, like Blastoise and Venusaur. Like when those Pokemon were meta, Sylveon was really good. But right now, like the characters that are playing Talonflame, Absol, nah, Sylveon is not good against them, in my opinion. Like, Sylveon is a character that depends so much on matchup. Maybe we can see some Sylveon if there's a draft mob coming soon, but not
Where would
right
you
now.
Put Sylveon. If
A
you would-
minus is, I think A minus is fair for, because it's not bad. I don't feel it's bad, but it doesn't shine for sure. It doesn't shine.
I also think Sylveon has really good uses, especially in the early game, to deny XP from the enemies. And like we do this weird split strat where Sylveon gets one buff and goes bot lane and just overruns the entire map. But because I feel like if she does it, it's fine. But because there's so much XP, people can still get XP from other things. Even if Sylveon like is in one lane and is being pretty oppressive, the other lane is getting value, and even if you're falling behind, you can still get value somewhere else. Like, I feel like because you get so much XP in this map, and Sylveon, like for example Mew can out-secure, Mime can out-secure and stuff, I feel like Sylveon is in a tough spot on this meta, but I still think Sylveon is a really good Pokemon, and that's why I would put it in A-, because it has good mobility, it does a lot of damage, it spreads special defense with Hyper Voice, and yeah, it's just being annoying as well.
Yeah, this for me, Sylveon is lower, but I can't I can't argue with your team for Sylveon. I mean, you were the reason Sylveon kind of became the big thing in the meta. So I'm not going to argue Sylveon, but I will say I'm not very impressed by it against a lot of what it goes up against. And like you said, it does deny some experience, but it's not hard to get experience on this map. It's why sort of those bigger experienced monsters are doing pretty well on this map, whereas maybe they weren't doing as well before. It's just there's plenty of places to go for XP. But again, I won't argue with you guys about Sylveon. I have been unimpressed when it's against me or on my team. I don't think it's that impactful.
Just don't forget that Sylveon can give such a huge advantage in early game, like such a huge lead. Like if you put Sylveon on bot lane, you know that the enemy mine is not going to score at all because he will be really scared of Sylveon.
True.
And that's very strong actually. Like Sylveon cannot be easily killed against mine in bot lane, and the early game is so strong. You cannot put a Pokemon that can do that in a low tier, in my opinion. And also the mid game and late game is not bad. Like he has a really bad matchups, but it still can do a fair damage, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, again, I can't say anything about Sylveon with you guys around. You made Sylveon, and I'm sure you're right. For me, I'm not very impressed by it.
Moving on to the next Pokemon, Decidueye. I'm gonna tell you what you. Okay.
S plus.
S plus.
S plus. No,
Now you need to
I,
explain us.
I'm kidding. I don't feel this Pokemon is S plus for sure.
S.
Maybe A plus. Like
Over Greninja or behind Greninja?
like Decidueye has very strong points but very weak points at the same time.
So tell me, what is it about Decidueye that you guys are seeing, because I feel like this Pokemon's in a pretty rough spot. But I would love to hear what you're seeing with it with Decidueye.
I can actually try to explain it. Like when I play Decidueye in this map, and I have a team that gives me vision, I spot the enemy threats. It's so easy to play it. Like, you have so many bosses to hide, and since there are so many fights for the middle of the map, that's exactly where Decidueye shines. Like at 8-minute Altarias, for example, if you have Arrow there, I always get some kills or the Altarias. Like he's so strong. There's another point of Decidueye. It's Shadow Sneak. Shadow Sneak gives you vision, like from people that are hide on the bushes. Like if you play Decidueye and you play it good, no one going to be sneaking killing you if you play Shadow Sneak well. I like in this map since they buff Floatstone as well, and I feel like Floatstone is kind of OP in Decidueye because you can run so fast where the enemy is and
it's
just
really nice.
Spirit Sack on them. Yeah, like if someone is fighting and you are in the middle of the match, you can just run very fast and support that fight like instantly. And I felt like he's really strong because of this.
Nice. Yeah, I'm seeing it get caught out so often, but of course I'm not seeing a team like yours support it. I just feel like it just keeps getting caught out. It gets KO'd in one hit. If it's next to anything, it's in so much trouble. But yeah, if you're playing well, if you're far away, also when someone throws a power swap plus on you and you're firing arrows, like that's an insane amount of damage too, which is really fun. Yeah. Sorry, Ghatule, I cut you off there.
I think, like personally, I would put Decidueye in S tier. Because watching like from a competitive perspective, we have time. Like, there are tournaments, but you can still keep practicing. And right now, I think like if you maximize this Pokemon and you are really good with it and you play with the team, I think this Pokemon is so impressive. Like every time Adesu plays this Pokemon in the jungle or somewhere else, I feel really safe. I know what Adesu is capable of. This Pokemon can secure from far away. This Pokemon has a lot of vision. He can use Shadow Sneak to see the enemies, and he can also use Shadow Sneak to reduce the defense. So when I play a Pokemon like Talonflame or Tita and I run to the enemies, I can legit just one-shot them immediately. They focus me because I'm in the front line and there's a Decidueye just throwing arrows. Because the blue buff is so strong and so many Pokemon are so strong because of the blue buff, I feel like Decidueye is so impressive. He can just two-shot the Greninja with 2 arrows. And I feel like if you maximize the Decidueye and you have a great comp, the Decidueye is gonna be completely dominant throughout the entire game. It has bad things, like if it doesn't score, it doesn't get a lot of value because of attack rate. But I do think a good team, even if the other lane is losing, can make the Decidueye win the other lane and then be completely broken.
There's also a plus, like Registeel buff synergizes so well with Decidueye. Like there was one game in which I Spirit Cycled one Snorlax and I did 4k and a half. Like I was very surprised about this damage. Like you can, like Churros. Okay, he has Shadow Sneak debuff, but still 4k and a half. What like to a front laner? Like if you are a front laner and you get this arrow, you get scared. You get instant scared. Like you don't want to be front lane anymore, right?
Yeah, like
that's what we mean. Like
yeah.
It's so impressive because of this.
I can't wait to see teams use it. I mean, I can't wait to see it. It's yeah, I can't wait.
Like it's high risk and high reward. Like Greninja is high risk and high reward, but Decidueye high risk, but like it's a really like huge reward that you receive after you get level 7 before 8 minutes and you have stacks. It's so impressive. I love to play for this Decidueye. I don't know any other Decidueyes, but looking in a competitive scene, if the Decidueye is good, you can shut down everyone. The next Pokemon is gonna be Tyranitar. I personally would put it on C because this is the Pokemon I hate the most. I think it should get deleted and they would put it on tier list. But watching Adesu again and other Tyranitar, I think if there's no B-, I would put it in B as well.
I have one data about Tyranitar, and if he gets level 15, this Pokemon has super high attack. I think he gets 500 attack, and he has like a very high attack speed. Like because of this, he's the Pokemon a base on auto attacks that deals the highest damage on auto attacks. Like, you cannot deny this fact. Like, it a Duraludon with ultimate and level 15 is hitting you, it's going to hurt a lot. Like, I think I saw like 1.8k critical strikes from this Pokemon in Flash Cannon. Be careful with this. But I mean, he's so squeezy anyway. Like, he's not that good, but I think he has such a good things. Like, but and again, nobody's playing it and nobody's trying it. But I'm pretty sure this Pokemon, if he got some buffs, we could see some Duraludon for sure.
Yeah. It's objective wise, it was pretty good. I think people were sleeping on Duraludon for a while after its nerfs, but now that objectives have less value and it doesn't have incredible mobility. I mean, you have some with Dragon Tail, but it doesn't feel like having the ability to shred objectives is as useful as it used to be. So I feel like this is a reasonable place for it. It makes sense for it to be kind of a B tier Pokemon. It's very specific, it feels like.
There's another point I want to make for Duraludon. The people think that Duraludon is easy to kill, but if you play Flash Cannon and once you get level 11, you can actually stun people for like 1.5 seconds, and if you are around your team, like there's no way you die. Like, Flash Cannon stun is so good because it's almost instant, it's super long range, it's so good to catch people. Like, people actually don't think about this, but Flash Cannon stance at level 11 is super good. Like, this ability is so strong.
Yeah, moving on to the next attacker. The next attacker is gonna be Espeon. I think Espeon is B+ right now, because I feel like Espeon is one of the few Pokemons that can, like, again, protect the zone and out-secure enemies once it's get level 4. If you make a jungle split strat and Espeon is level 4 on bot lane, and if she dominates the bot lane and she gets level 8, she can play around the team. Like, if you're looking for an objective, if you are level 8 earlier and you have higher level than the enemies, you can make so many plays with Espeon. Espeon has great secure, it got a buff, it is pretty strong right now, and I feel like if you play around Espeon and you have a good team composition, Espeon is gonna shine really hard, because I feel like this Pokemon is not better than Sylveon right now, but I feel like good Espeons can do a lot of stuff. Again, like, I'm talking from experience. I'm playing ladder, I didn't play in competitive, but I feel like seeing a Espeon level 15 at 3 minutes makes something out. Like, playing against a good team and playing Espeon and you are bot lane and you're level 15 in 3 minutes, it says something. I feel like this Pokemon can shine if you play it correctly.
I don't feel Espeon is behind Sylveon. Like, Espeon has such a good early game like Sylveon, and that's why Sylveon is A-. Like, Espeon can do the same thing that Sylveon does. He's very impressive in early game. If he plays cooldown and blue buff, you have Psyshock every 3 seconds and like 0.3. Like, I played Espeon one game and I was kinda perma-pushing a Mine. Like, Mine couldn't do anything against Espeon. Since this reason, I think Espeon should be a little higher than Sylveon actually. And also mid game and late game wise, I think Espeon is better than Sylveon now, because it feels like it is a maze of hit and run, while Sylveon is, you have to be there for constant DPS. Like, you cannot leave the fight so easily as Espeon, that is just hit and run, can and go.
Yeah, the stuns and secures are really nice on Espeon. I'd probably rather have one on my team than a Sylveon. I think both of them are both kind of fine. A- seems fair. I do think Espeon's probably more useful than Sylveon, but it is also very, very squishy. And just kind of, yeah, you have to protect it really well. But if you do, the nice thing about it is, compared to Sylveon, is it gets these huge stuns. I think the stuns are awesome.
Okay, moving on to the next attacker, Delphox. I'm gonna put it to A+ and let others attack first.
I think it's fair. Like, Delphos needs blue buff, and the early game of Delphos is so bad. Like, your team can actually lose the whole early game because you pick Delphos. But there's a reward for sure of picking Delphos. Once you hit level 11, he's so good. One of the best characters of the game actually. But you need to get to that point, and you need to get to that point before losing the game, and that usually doesn't happen. So Yeah. It's high risk, high reward, like Atlas says. Like you need a team that take care of you while you are farming.
What
You
did you run on Delphox?
What I run on Delphox?
Yeah, like
What?
because you say Delphox is strong, but you're not saying what is strong about her.
Okay, Delphox is good. It's permanent DPS. Like the ultimate is the lowest cooldown of the game. It helps you boost, it helps you defend. Mystical Fire plus Flame Charge. It gives you the enough mobility to kite mine, to play against me and dodge everything. You can actually outrange Glaceon as well. Like it has really good matchups in the current meta, but you need to get there. You need to get there, and you need to hit the skill shots. If you are bad at Delphos, that Pokemon is not for you for sure. Like you need to hit the skills. If you don't hit the skills with Delphos, it's not going to be worth, and that's a risk as well. So that's why he is not S or S plus, because you need to hit things, and people don't.
That's interesting. I wonder, I mean, because when you compare it to Cram lanes better, and it's not as inconsistent. But yeah, once you get level 11, especially with a blue buff, you are throwing mystical fires and flame charges repeatedly. You could just keep going. So probably if you're more skilled, you're getting more value out of Delphox maybe than Cram. But it is a bit of a liability where Cram does really well early. So yeah, that's interesting. A+, huh? Okay.
Like if you are a Delphos capable of hitting every mystical fire, you win the game.
Yeah.
Automatically.
It's just insane amounts of damage, and you can't really chase it down. It can chase you. It's pretty solid. Yeah.
I agree with every one of you. Like I think A+ is a good spot. It has bad early game, but good mid and end game. And because the map is so big and you can farm so much, again, you can farm a lot. So I would, like in the old map, I would have put Delphox in A or A- because you can just take the farm. If I'm a Greedent and I see a Delphox, I'm gonna keep running at her until she has no farm left. But because the map is so big, you cannot be everywhere on Greedent. If you can have 2 Greedents, it's another thing, but you only have 1.
Delphos is like Greedent, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next attackers. We have
the
only 2
D-ball.
left, and it's gonna be Glaceon. I think Glaceon is S+, and I'm gonna put it as S+, but I'm gonna let Spragels talk first.
Yeah, I mean, this Pokemon's crazy. Icy Wind is insane. I think people were kind of unaware of what Icy Wind was doing before, because it was already sort of putting out about this kind of damage, but we didn't have a blue buff or anything like that. It also got buffed. It can just stay at extreme range and throw out absurd amounts of damage. I feel like it's broken. It's gonna get a nerf, so play it while it exists, because they're gonna tune this thing down.
I played Glaceon like before this map with a CD build actually. Like if you play Silver Amplifier and Black Runes, you get and once you hit level 9, you can get perma Icy Wind without blue buff. And there I noticed that I can keep Icy Wind with 8 stack, and I felt that there was actually good. But since they buff Icy Wind like by 25% more damage, and now you can do this at level 4 and get pressure on the map. It has good early game, it has good mid game, it has good late game, good DPS, has some survivability. Like it has every tool in the game, not gonna lie. It's reliable damage because you don't have to aim. Like we cannot deny that Glaceon is super strong right now.
Yeah.
For many reasons.
Yeah, like talking about the EV evolutions as well, like she gets her ultimate at level 8. She's one of the best junglers right now, and because she gets her ultimate level 8, she can get the early ultimate at 8 minutes and use her ultimate just to kill someone, to get more XP, like to get more value. I feel like Glaceon is one of the picks that, in a competitive perspective, you need to see how to counter this Pokemon. How do you play against this Pokemon? Do you ban it? Do you counter pick it? Do you pick it yourself? How do you, like in a competitive scene, there are always broken Pokemons. Like not always, but in a game where there's always going to be one strong Pokemon, you think about what can you do against this Pokemon. So, like, if you see a Glaceon, you want to counter pick it or pick it yourself because it's broken. You don't want to miss it out. And that's why I think it's in an S+ spot. So, everyone agrees for S+, and now we go for another broken Pokemon.
Yeah.
I think Mew is one of the best Pokemons in the game right now. It has good mechanics, and I think, like, if people can play Mew on their full potential, they can do a lot of stuff. Like, there's so many possibilities and so many ways where you can be annoying and be strong at the same time. I feel like Mew is just one of the Pokemons that can always be fun, and it can just do whatever it wants. It has, like Adesu said, one of the most HP as an attacker, which doesn't really make sense because it's already so strong. Its
Yeah.
third auto attack does incredible amount of damage, and I think Mew is just like a
Yeah.
must.
Did you guys know this? Like, Mew is the second highest HP attacker, just behind Sylveon. Why? Why is this? Like, I don't understand why he has such a high HP pool. Like, I don't think it doesn't need it. Like, why is not like Duraludon on Decidueye, Greninja, or Cinderace? Like, this Pokemon needs to be squeezed here for sure. Also, he has like 230 depth, which is super high in attacker as well. Like, I don't know why they put such tanky stats on a Pokemon. Like, it's running, like, has such survivability and many tools. Like, they are wrong. Like, they are definitely wrong with this character. The design is not good. Like, the design is super good because it's so funny to play, but it needs some nerfs for sure. Like, at the numbers, not the actual mechanics of game or gameplay.
Yeah, I love the skill expression that this Pokemon has. If you're a great player on Mew, the things you can do are just silly. It's amazing to watch, but it's way overpowered. I think its boosted is insane. It does too much damage. I mean, at least there's some counterplay with being able to walk in front of these boosteds. That's nice. At least there's that. But yeah, you get a Solar Beam at level 1. Then you power it up at level 3 with a wall that pushes enemies back and stuns them. It's so much stuff. It's so much. And a great player on Mew is just unbelievable. It's clearly overpowered. It's clearly going to get some nerfs. But this is very common in Pokemon Unite, where a Pokemon will come out either super underwhelming or sometimes super powerful, and Mew is just super powerful right now.
They definitely need to nerf the early game damage. Like, the damage in late game is fine, in mid game is more or less fine, but in early game is just too high. Like, they need to do something with this Pokemon, and I'd rather they nerf their HP defense and special defense than the damage damage. Like, this Pokemon needs to be squeezed here.
Yeah,
for sure.
Spragels, you can decide the next either defender, support, or wonder, or speedsters.
Well, I see we got speedsters and supporters. Right? Let's just start with supporters. I mean, we got a big one right there, and there's an easy conversation to be had. I think Mime, it got nerfed recently, so it's probably B+ now. Not very good. You don't really see it competitively. No one likes Mr. Mime anymore. So it's sad, but that's what happens when you get nerfs.
Yeah.
You know, that's how it goes. B+.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Like, oh my god, this nerf of mine make him useless.
Yeah.
We had some fun during the first week, but yeah, they hot fits mine. Now he's useless. Nobody picks it.
Bad now.
Yeah.
Jokes aside, I think Mime is one of the most annoying Pokemon in the game.
Without question. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. All three of these Pokemon that you have in S+ tier are just so brutal right now. Mime is the game currently, it feels like. It feels like Mime is the game.
Like, playing ladder every day and playing against the Mime, I don't want to play my Pokemon anymore. I was thinking of a way how to counter Mime or how to avoid Mime. I started playing Talonflame because I don't want to see, I don't want to fight, I don't want to be near this Pokemon.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's so strong. I always think it's a support. Why can it do everything? It can heal, it can deal damage, it can 1v9 as a support.
Legit, one Pokemon is so overpowered when everybody complains about it, about playing against it, and that's us. Like, if you are in our voice call when there's a Mine in the enemy team, everyone, literally everyone complains about Mine. Everyone, especially me, by the way.
Again, like, looking in a competitive perspective, it shut down so many Pokemon. It has a great early game. After it gets scoring in, it deals more damage. After it gets level 6, you can't do anything against it. You just don't want to see it in your game. Moving on to a next support. Eldegoss. I'm gonna put Eldegoss on B.
What do you even... What do you do? I don't know. Eldegoss for the longest time, I feel like, what do you do with this Pokemon? They nerfed it a lot. Blissey took its job, and now you think, okay, so maybe it's not Blissey, but now it's Mime that's taking its... Like, where do you put this Pokemon? In the attacker role? Is it... I don't know. I always feel like for the last... I wish I could remember when it happened, but for the last so many months, where do you even play Eldegoss? I don't know. I have no idea where to play it. I think it's a low tier Pokemon for me.
Like, that's the good question. I think Eldegoss has uses, like all the other Pokemon on B tier. That's why I put it on B tier. I think interesting is that you could run Eldegoss with X attack on the bot lane side. I feel like Eldegoss could be a potential one-shot character that surprises enemies in the competitive scene, because no one really thinks about what can Eldegoss do. And if you play Eldegoss as an attacker and you play X attack, I think it has uses because like Hoopa is not as good compared, because I feel like we're going to it next like later, but I feel like Eldegoss ultimate does a lot of damage actually and has good healing. Like, it can set up a team fight, and that's why I think Eldegoss is a good Pokemon. It can support your Pokemon from behind. Leaf Tornado is a really good ability because it can blind enemies like Glaceon or Greninja or every attacker. And I feel like people sleep on Eldegoss. I think Eldegoss could be useful in competitive scene as a surprise no one expects.
Like, honestly, the Unite reward was so bad for Eldegoss. Like, actually, when you united with Eldegoss before, you were out attacking the enemies, like, for sure. Like, and you were actually 1v1 like almost every character with Eldegoss after you use Unite, because he attacks so fast. His auto attacks are really strong, especially if you run Muscle Band and Edge attack. But right now, he doesn't get attack speed. He just gets insane cooldown reduction, which is not good enough in my opinion. Also, don't never ever forget that Leaf Tornado is one of the best skills for engaging and disengaging in this game. And I feel that's the use of Eldegoss, like the only use of Eldegoss actually. Leaf Tornado is still good. And you can protect from Icy Wind, blinding the enemy Glaceon.
Yeah.
That's it? Actually, I don't know. I didn't try it.
I haven't tried it this way.
I mean, yeah, I just feel Eldegoss is one of those Pokemon for me where I feel like for the longest time I just don't know where to put it. And I don't disagree that you could do some attacker stuff with it, but it always feels like, why? Yeah. Why do that?
So guys, would you put it in a C tier or?
I think B is fine. These are
fine.
It's all these Pokemon that are. I mean, I don't know. When I kind of look at Pikachu, it does kind of fall into this tier as well. Like, it's like, what do you do with all these Pokemon? I don't know.
If for some reason auto attack attackers will be like really good, Eldegoss will be better because you can blind them. But you see the S plus.
Yeah.
There's actually no auto attackers. So yeah.
Moving on to the next support, Wigglytuff. I'm gonna put it to A-.
I feel like it's better. It's better than it was. You know, it feels like it is in a better spot than it was. It's kind of, I mean, it's mean when you're walking around with a Mime or something like that. I feel like there are other tanks you'd probably slot in, but I actually have been seeing more and more Wiggly, and yeah, I think it's better than it was, that's for sure. It used to kind of hang right out with Eldegoss, I thought, which is why are you playing this over Blissey? But it seems to be doing okay. Maybe B+ is a little more accurate for it.
I agree with Spragels. Like, if you play Wigglytuff, if you play Rollout, the new map is a bit messy for bouncing, right? With Rollout, like, it's actually hard. And if you play Sing, I don't feel I don't know how a Wigglytuff can Sing a Mew or a Glaceon. Like, they just step back and that's it. Like, and they kill you. Like, Sync is really good against other melees and all-rounders and speedsters. It's super good against Talonflame, it's super good against Aurora, Absol, but not against the attackers that are S+ right now.
Yeah, they're just
like
too
Snorlax, it's better because he can engage with Jet Pattern or it has better engage, it's instant.
Yeah, Snorlax feels like it does take a lot of spots from people right now. Because it can get there. You know, Heavy Slam can get there, and Block can really set up some amazing stuff. But yeah, Ghatule, go ahead.
Hey guys, I'm gonna agree with you on Wigglytuff. I think Wigglytuff is also B+ because it got better over the time because no one really plays Blizzy.
Yep.
But I also think that Wigglytuff can be in a really good team composition with Mime. I saw people playing Wigglytuff Mime on bot lane and completely dominating the bot lane. The bot lane couldn't do anything. They keep getting stunned. Like Wigglytuff was the support of the Mime attacker,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I think Wigglytuff can be really useful for other Pokemon, and it has also got some good uses. Yeah, let's move on to the next support. The next support
But
is
that's just in early game, right? Like in the laning phase, because the enemy could actually not kill mine, not kill Wigglytuff, and they just suffer, right?
Yeah.
But what
Not-
if they play Espeon? Espeon
do you-
can actually fight against that lane.
Do you think Double Slap is it now better than Dazzling Gleam, or
I
Yeah, with the
personally
new-
like
with the
Secure,
new
but
buff,
I haven't
yes.
tried it really. I always like Big Burst personally, just because last hitting matters so much. But I have not played around enough with it. Is it better now?
Yeah, now free slaps are more damage than Dazzling Gleam
Nice.
itself. So if you get 5 slaps, is way more damage than that Dazzling Gleam right
Sweet.
now.
Alright, moving on to Blizzy. Blizzy has been really dominant in the last map, and it was always really high.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna put it on A tier for now, and let you guys talk again.
Yeah, Blissey. Blissey has a problem, and it's like it doesn't farm fast.
Mhm.
And this map is full of farm. Like if you pick Blissey for supporting one of the like. I would play Blissey in my team plays Greninja, for example, because it gives Greninja what it lacks, survivability. Or for example, Tyranitar is also good with Blissey. Like it has just some uses, but it's not OP anymore, and it's not a must for sure. But it's still strong for sure. That ultimate is just too broken still.
Yeah, it's got a great ult. I think it's one of those weird things where we've seen Blissey completely fall out of favor because of things like Mr. Mime. And then when you see a Pokemon as dominant as Mr. Mime, you see things kind of move in to support it, or things move in to sort of, counter it on the enemy team. And interestingly enough, through all that shuffling, this Pokemon that was crazy overpowered, Blissey, just kind of falls out of favor and people aren't using it. But I don't think that necessarily means that it couldn't have a good place and it isn't still very, very solid. I just think it's not the flavor of the week right now, and it kind of lost its job a bit to Mime and whatever supports Mime. I bet some teams could still use it well. I think A is super fair.
Yeah, I also think like that Blizzy lost kind of the way she does with the new map because she cannot farm, and you pick Blizzy to support a Pokemon like Greninja, or even like I think if you support Tyranitar with Blizzy, Tyranitar could be really strong. Because we go to Tyranitar later, but I feel like Blizzy is one of the Pokemon that you can pick to let other Pokemon shine even brighter. Like even though the Pokemon is kind of bad, if there's a Blizzy, it can support it, and it's a supporter role, and it can do so much with the Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Hoopa.
Hoopa.
I can't wait
kinda
to hear
forgot it.
you guys talk about Hoopa, because I made my tier list, which I made a tier list on last Monday, and it's more general. It's not for only competitive play. It's like a general tier list for most players, and I straight up have no idea where to put this Pokemon, because it feels like everything that Hoopa did, in some ways it can still do all this stuff, but it doesn't have the same... Like there used to be second Dreadnought, and then there used to be Zapdos, and you knew what you were going to do with Hoopa in these moments. And now I feel like some teams could make incredible use out of Hoopa. Like they could do some of the craziest plays ever, but also the fights are not as clear anymore. When people are fighting, what's going to happen, and how Hoopa is going to help the team. So I am so lost as to where this Pokemon goes competitively.
There's a problem with Hoopa. Like in the previous map, people were playing around points, so it was really easy to move through the points using Portal. Right now, the people are distracted with the farm. Like they are in the middle of the map, they're farming jungle. The mobs are like farther from your point. So using Portal for moving from a point to another is harder. And Hoopa has the biggest problem that it cannot farm. It cannot farm. It's just too slow.
Yeah.
And this map is about farming. if you can play Mew, also Mew, the release of Mew made Hoopa to be unplayable right now. Hoopa like Mew doesn't need that much HP, sorry, and that's it. Like
Yeah.
there's also Trick. Like Trick is still usable, but it's hard to use. Like what Pokemon do you use with Trick?
Like Talon,
Hard.
Flame.
Yeah, Talon. It's fun to trick Talon and then have it fly. That's pretty cool.
So I feel like I put Hoopa on B tier because I think even though Hoopa lost his job on the new map and because like Hoopa is not as dominant as Mew, you pick Mew over Hoopa. But I still think Hoopa can do lots of stuff. He has too many weaknesses, and that's why I think B tier is gonna be like the play for Hoopa because he can be useful.
Yeah.
Even though
You could still score I mean, you could score comp and run a Hoopa, and you could base score, and you could set up a ton of different plays with it. So it's definitely way more situational, which is interesting. Everything in our B tier, except kind of for Venusaur, but everything in our B tier feels a lot more situational than maybe it used to be.
True.
right,
Yeah.
moving on to defenders.
Cool.
We have our big boy Snorlax, and I'm gonna put him into A+.
Yeah, he's super solid. Super solid.
I think Snorlax is one of, like, not the best defender. I feel like Snorlax has so many good uses. If you run him with XP shell, he doesn't need a lot of XP. He doesn't really need to farm because like Body Slam is so oppressive. And it's interesting because in a competitive way of thinking, you could use Snorlax to invade the enemy jungler. Because the jungle is so open and no one can really protect the jungle, you can run to the enemy jungle and just be annoying. Like, because there's so much farm in this in this map, the competitive way of thinking is if someone invades, you deny the enemy jungle routine. So like he takes his jungle too late, he can't take a second rotation or a third rotation. While your jungler will get a lot of value. He gets so much XP, he gets over the enemy jungle, and that's what Snorlax can do. But he can also go bot lane or top lane because he has good last hitting. So he's really oppressive overall, and his body slam and block is just so oppressive. Like you can deny enemy because there are so many walls, and you can just be completely annoying and just chase someone.
What Snorlax is good about is making time. His ultimate is super good for making time. Right now, since people doesn't favor Rayquaza that much, they want to control before actually doing it. Snorlax shines at this moment. Like the ultimate is giving a lot of valuable seconds for your team, so they can come back from that and still hold the game. Also, like Ghatule said, you can put Snorlax everywhere. You don't know where Snorlax is going to be. Top, your jungle, his jungle, bot lane, is capable of being anywhere. And yeah, it's body slam with jet button can get through the squeeziest carries, and also it can actually deny mine. Like with block, you can protect your team very easily with Snorlax.
Like, would you think Snorlax could be a potential S tier, or do you think A+ is fair on
A
Snorlax?
plus is fair,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah. A+, I think, is super fair. We saw it do some really cool stuff at Worlds. I think it surprised some people at Worlds because it had sort of fallen out of favor for a while, but it kind of came back and had some really impressive plays. And right now on this map, especially with just, you know, having a tank that can jump all the way to the back of the enemy team if you need to, it just sets up so many amazing plays. And yeah, like you said, you can run into the enemy central area, into that jungle. You have great secure. You can out secure most squishy Pokemon just with that big tackle and boosted. So it's really fun seeing Snorlax now. I think it's super solid. And block can push you off a point from scoring without even having to break your shields. So
Right, moving on to the next defender, Crustle, on B+, because I think Crustle shines on this map right now because I feel like Crustle is really good because he can score. Like, this map is not more about like looking for objectives, if it kind of makes sense what I'm saying. Like he's gonna be annoying and he's gonna try to score around the map. I think there are better options in Crustle if you think about scoring and being annoying. but I feel like Grassel has some good uses. Once, like he plays Go Getter, Score Shield, and just runs all around the map. You could also play Grassel with Scissor, but I feel like you could play Grassel like back in Season 1 days again. And there's some good uses, in my opinion.
Legit, I don't have a really strong opinion on Grassel. Like, I didn't see any Grassel in the
In any
whole games
costume.
I'm playing. Like, but thinking about it, I don't like. I don't know. Scissor has so many walls. Like, it could be good. I think Grassel's ultimate is one of the best, in my opinion. Like, it does so much damage. Not gonna lie. If you sleep on it, you die.
Yeah.
You die. For sure. But I don't know. This Pokemon needs something else.
Yeah, I haven't seen him much. Like, I haven't seen him at all, actually. Like, in my experience and overall, like, I feel like it has some good uses. I wouldn't put it on a B tier, because I feel like, because this map is made for farming and scoring, Grassel could be really good. Because you don't really go for Zapdos and just win the game.
Yeah. I think it's weird because you have to have a strategy formulated around the fact that you're going to be doing this with Crustle, but it's so fast, it scores so well. If you have, you have a score shield on it with one of the biggest health pools in the game. You're not going to stop it from scoring. You could put a little score button on it and it's making plays and it'll easily get 300 points a game, which in a game where even if the enemies secure the big, fight in the center, they might not be able to score. It's way more viable, but you're right. I don't see anyone playing it. So it's going to take a team that wants that strategy. It's weird because Talon also does a similar job right now. But Talon outputs more damage in some of the big fights. Yeah, I don't know. I think B+ is a pretty cool place to see it. I bet on a team that really utilizes it well, it's a monster.
Blastoise.
I really love Blastoise.
Where would you put it, Adesu?
Don't really know, but I think we are sleeping on this Pokemon like for so long. Like Blastoise is not bad at all.
That's exciting to hear, because the second you brought up Blastoise, I thought, it's fine. I feel like for the long time it's been fine, but what do you think we're sleeping on? What do you think it is?
This Pokemon is so good defending at points. Like, if you see a Blastoise defending at point, what you are thinking is, okay, I cannot score here. It's impossible. Also, it is easy to get XP in this map, and Blastoise Ultimate is one of the best for teamfight as well. Blastoise can get level 14 so easily, and if he gets beyond level 14, it becomes unkillable. Like, I don't feel like Glaceon can kill Blastoise easily. Actually, Blastoise kills Glaceon. It's good for fighting Mime. Like, Mime cannot stance you. Mime will survive for sure your full combo, but if you are if someone of your teammates are behind you, you will kill Mime for sure. And yeah, like Blastoise is immune to Snorlax. Like, I feel like Blastoise works pretty well against the meta picks. It's just that nobody is playing it. Like, I don't know.
I feel like Blastoise
Now I
is
really
good
want to play
still.
Blastoise and try it. Not gonna lie.
Like, I feel like Blastoise is good, but again, like in the old map, Blastoise had trouble getting there, getting to the level. The new map has a lot of farm, but I feel like Blastoise farms really slowly. Like, once he gets stacks, he can farm really fast. He can get ahead, but every time I play Blastoise, I just feel like I'm not getting there. I don't know, like, I'm trying to get to the level I want to achieve, but there are so many Pokemon like Glaceon or
Yeah, but you
Mew.
said the same thing as Stroman, and then you changed your mind the next day. You did it. I think we didn't try Blastoise enough. We are sleeping on it.
Like, do you think Blastoise could be a potential candidate for like A minus, or do you think it's B plus?
I don't know where to place Blastoise right now because I didn't try it
Yeah.
that much yet, but I think it has potential for sure. Like, I don't know why we're not playing Blastoise, not gonna lie. But what you replace for Blastoise? Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, you always run into that, right? Where you're like, this Pokemon's cool, but I'm not swapping out whatever.
So like,
Maybe
I think
Snorlax.
we let Blastoise for B plus for now and talk about the other defenders, and maybe we change our mind. Okay, Slowbro. I think Slowbro is a solid A minus. I think Slowbro has good uses. You can, like, if you know how to use Slowbro correctly, I think it has interesting way on like playing in the competitive scene. Like, we played Slowbro in a competitive, like in a tournament, and we lost. because we didn't know where to put Slowbro or how to use him. But you need to keep in mind, Slowbro is one of the Pokemon. His ultimate can stun everyone. He can deny Rayquaza shield. He can deny Score shield. He can hold the lane with Scald, and he can be really useful and really annoying. The interesting thing about Slowbro is he's really tanky. There's a lot of farm, and he has a good secure. Like, he's not bad in the early game. You just need to be level 4 to be good in the game. So I was thinking that Slowbro is a solid A- because there's like a lot of things you can do with Slowbro. I feel like if you give Slowbro a blue buff, he could do potential things. We haven't tried it yet, but I think Slowbro is gonna be always good, like in different team compositions. For example, in the Worlds, we played Slowbro to deny the Tsareena from T2 Mame, and it worked out at the end. I feel like Slowbro can be always useful. He has good early game secure. He is strong level 4. He can be annoying. I feel like because of Mime, a lot of defenders are not that good. Just because of Mime, in my opinion.
That's where I kind of land with Slowbro is. I mean, A- is fine, but I just don't know. I guess you try to swap out something like Snorlax. I don't know. I actually felt like Slowbro got a little worse just because of how viable Mime is right now. I love its Unite move. It's such an amazing Unite. If you catch the right Pokemon with its Unite in a big fight, it's great. But now the big fight has really changed, you know? It's like there's a lot of waiting. There's a lot of someone running off to try to make a score. Like the big fight that we used to have, it feels so different now, but it's not a bad Pokemon at all. I just feel like with Mime in there, I almost wonder what you're going to do with Slowbro. I don't know.
Like a Pokemon with this ultimate will be always be usable for sure.
Yeah, it's one of the best in the game by far.
Do you think it should stay an A-, or do you think because of Mime and Snorlax being so good, it should be in this competitive tier list at least in B+, looking forward?
Yeah, think about it. Think about the matchups that Slowbro has
Yeah.
to face in this current meta. Is there any good matchup? Think about it.
Yeah.
Like, you will be mostly auto-attacking Mine or
Mhm.
Snorlax, and that's it. Because the other Pokemon are not getting into your range.
I feel like in this current meta, like the mages are really strong. Like mages, like especially attack mages, are really strong and they are shining really bright because they can do so much with the map. Because you can't really deny them XP because they are getting the XP. Like we said about Delphox, she needs XP. There's a lot of XP in the map.
Mhm.
And I feel like because the mages are so strong, other Pokemons are weaker as well. And like Slowbro reduces the attack, but if there's a mage that constantly attacks Slowbro from far away, can Slowbro catch it? Okay, looking to another defenders now. Mamoswine. I think Mamoswine is a solid A-.
I like
I think-
Mamo right now. I actually think it's pretty
Yeah.
sick. Go ahead.
Like the plays you can make, and because of like Mamoswine can slow the enemy scoring. He can protect the zone, and he can just do kind of whatever he wants. I feel like Mamoswine wasn't strong because of Hooper. Because if Mamoswine engages and Hooper resets them, Mamoswine loses its value. But because there's no Hooper, and there's not really someone that can recover HP, Mamoswine can be really good in catching people, making plays, open plays, and I feel like Mamoswine could be so strong if you use it correctly, and I like Mamoswine a lot. I'm a big fan. I don't put it in A for now because I feel like it doesn't really deserve the A spot because it has some bad uses.
Mhm.
But I feel like A- is solid on Mamoswine because he can make plays, and yeah, it's my
Yeah.
opinion.
Mamoswine has a room for this meta for sure. Like, if you play Mamoswine bot lane, you know they're usually gonna fight Mine, and Mamoswine just kills Mine. Like, okay, Mine, you're melee, I'm melee. I auto-attack you, you die. That's it. And also, you play with a friendly Mew in your bot lane. Like, if you do a one combo to the enemy Mew is going to die, because Solar Beam plus Mamoswine combo one-shots Mew. For sure, like it's been tested. Mamoswine is so fine, and if you play the top side, Mamoswine has really high AoE damage.
Mhm.
You can take the Natus so fast. You can deny the enemy Natus while killing the enemy. It has so many uses. Mamo early game is so good.
Yeah.
So good.
And it got an inadvertent buff. It's weird because the Unite move changes have buffed some Pokemon and hurt some others, where its Unite move I never thought was super impressive. But now a Pokemon like Mamo, its Unite is actually kind of more in line with a lot of the other Unites in the game, because before people were just using Unite moves so that they could kind of go Super Saiyan and do a bunch of damage otherwise almost. But now Mamo's Unite's actually, okay, it's on a pretty good timer. It does decent damage. I guess it does more than Blastoise if you hit all 3 hits. It's kind of disruptive. So it's actually kind of solid now. I'm kind of surprised that I like Mamo so much, but I do.
So we agree on my minus. Moving on to my
This
favorite
Pokemon is
defender.
good for sure.
And I think Greedent is in a tough spot because Greedent hates Mime. I feel like Greedent could be potentially A+, but personally, as a Greedent main and a Greedent lover, I would put Greedent as an A, because I feel like because of Mime and Mime being so oppressive against Greedent, I would rather don't want to play Greedent against Mime than as a champion. I feel like because of Mime, Greedent loses a lot of value in the game. His value is to be annoying, to be around the map and be completely annoying. But if a Mime knows what Greedent is doing and he chases him and kills them instantly, then Greedent can't do anything. Greedent needs level 5 to be useful in the game. But because I feel like every time I play against a Mime and I play Greedent, I'm just completely annoyed. I wanna do like big places, I wanna engage, and every time I engage there's a Mime. He uses one power swap on me and I can't move anymore. I can't run away with cover. I need to use my X speed, and I would rather want to play Greedent, like I mean something else than Greedent, and that's why I don't see him in A+. I feel like because Mime is so oppressive and because it's a competitive way of thinking and there's no bans involved, I would not put Greedent on A+ because of Mime.
I won't say any word about Greedent. We got this.
Yeah, I mean, you're the Greedent king. I love Greedent. I think it's amazing. I often put it near the top of every tier list I make because I just think it's so unique and it harasses and scores in such an impressive way. But you're right, Mime is a real problem for this Pokemon. But in general, I just think Greedent always has insane value. But right now, Mime is really mean, for sure.
If you come to the Speedsters, I can explain you why I don't want to play Greedent anymore.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
But Greedent on A. Okay, moving on to the, I believe, last defender, Trevenant. I think Trevenant, also, as well talking from experience, I think Trevenant is a solid A, going slowly down to A- to Mammospine, because I feel like Trevenant can be really useful in competitive scene, because when he goes top lane, and he wants to deny the enemy top laner from getting stacks, he can one-shot the enemy Natus, like the teammates Natus, instantly. Like they're gonna be gone and they can't contest it. Then he can protect the point after he gets level 5, and he can stay on the point as long as possible. So the Speedsters or the Pokemon that can be really oppressive and push the top lane, there's Trevenant that can protect the top lane. If you, because there are so many walls, Trevenant's Hornleash can stun longer. Trevenant's Hornleash stuns longer when he hits a wall with the enemy. So I feel like because Trevenant is also a really healthy Pokemon and there's no Hooper involved, it has really good uses. It also gets stacks easily and gets level 7 easily. And that's why I think Trevenant is also good. I would have put it like Trevenant higher if it would be the old map because he can deny XP. I think Xperia is a really bad item right now on Trevenant or any Pokemon. I mean, not Xperia, Fluffy Tail. I think Fluffy Tail is one of the worst items in the game right now, and I think on the fairness, X-Speed could be really good, but we can talk about the items if you want after the tier list.
Trevenant doesn't have very good matchups right now. Like Glaceon is good against Trevenant, Mew is good against Trevenant. Mine is not that bad against Trevenant, but not good either. But if you check, like, I don't know, Snorlax can protect very well against Trevenant. But Trevenant is predictable. Like he's just good at being annoying, being durable, defending points, and that's good. Like he does such a good job there, but not at fighting, in my opinion. I don't know.
I would put Greedent in A because he has secure potential in the competitive scene. I think secure potential is always good, but because you don't really play. Like personally, I don't play Fluffy Tail on Trevenant. I don't have secure potential. Like, do you think Trevenant could be A- because he's not that great anymore because of the other champs, because other champs can outrun him.
Yeah, maybe the draft comes and you ban those characters that make actually Trevenant have a hard time. Could be better. Like Trevenant is still a great Pokemon. He can do so many stuff, and he can give you a lot of time as well. And that's never bad for never. And he's good
Do
at
you agree?
protecting for sure.
Yeah. Do you agree, Spragels, or
Yeah, I really
you think-
like Trevenant. I do think it's in a weird spot because I feel like every game I'm seeing a wall, and then you're seeing these protected things behind it, and Trevenant kind of runs into Snorlax's wall, and you're just kind of pushing it around. You got a Mime and a Snorlax that are just kind of making its life pretty hard. But Trev is still pretty solid. You're right about its early game too. It's really solid early. It gets level 5 like that, and all of a sudden it can defend super well. But I do think, yeah, in some of the later fights, its positioning, it's like a little tough to get in and do what you want to do at times. But yeah, it's still really good. I think A- is fair for Trev.
Moving on to the, let's do Arondas first.
Okay.
The first Aronda is gonna be Garchomp.
Yeah.
Okay, he's happy we do Speedsters first, right?
No,
What-
let's do Arondas first.
Let's do all rounders. I don't know what you do with Garchomp. It's always in a weird spot. It's got more farm, but I don't know what you do with this Pokemon. It's always in a bad spot.
You can kite Garchomp, that's it. Garchomp is good against high HP targets that are brawling against him. As you see that S+, S tier, and A+, there's none of those Pokemon that does that. The only brawling Pokemon is mine, and you get permastun against mine.
Yeah.
So there's no spot for Garchomp again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see a future right now for Garchomp because like it can be top lane and be like the top lane Rotom gamer, but I feel like Garchomp can be outsmarted, and it can be like just outguided, that it loses its value.
Mhm.
Also, it's a good team fight Pokemon, but because everyone is running around, everyone is running in circles, Garchomp loses its focus. I think you can make big plays with Garchomp, and I think Garchomp is a good Pokemon. Like, a lot of people would disagree with us if they are like Garchomp mains, but I feel like in a competitive scene, you don't really want to go Garchomp over other Pokemon.
Yeah.
So there's another change in this map that we didn't talk about yet. Is like Rayquaza damage is way higher than Zapdos damage. If you get hit by that Draco Meteor, you get like 2.5k damage. Garchomp was flipping Zapdos very easily in the other map, but right now he will lose a lot of HP if he tries to rush Rayquaza. So cannot do that anymore, like easily at least.
So do you guys all agree on Garchomp for CT for now?
Yeah, it's just low. Luckily, there's more farm. So I think a team that really wanted to focus on Garchomp, I mean, it'll easily be level 15. You could solo the Reggies in the bot path if nobody cares about them. I mean, there are some things you could do with it, but it always just feels like it's in one of the worst places in the game. Garchomp's been in one of the worst places in the game forever.
But even if you try to do the solo Reikis in bot lane, there will be a Mew that will solar beam able to secure you.
Yeah,
Because
true.
Garchomp doesn't have secure,
Yep.
Yeah.
unluckily.
The one I wonder everyone talks about, Lucario. I personally think Lucario is in a A+ spot, not S. I feel like Lucario E-Speed is really strong on the new map because there's so many like little creeps that you can run over and use E-Speed, like for example on Natu, on the Swablu's. I feel like E-Speed could be so strong on Lucario. I personally think you can run a comp without Lucario in the competitive scene right now, rather than running Lucario, because Lucario is not meant for the comp, and that's why I put it in A+, but I do think Lucario is one of the best Pokemon in the game. I think it's strong, it has everything you need, and you can also run Power Punch. I feel like people sleep on Power Punch. I personally think a good Power Punch player can make big places, even though E-Speed is so strong. Like, people are not playing Power Punch because they don't see a player make use of the Power Punch. But I can predict that Power Punch is gonna be meta again, even though E-Speed is so oppressive.
Not agree with you. E-Speed is way better. Like you can do, like you have to be very careful about Lucario E-Speed right now. He just jumps over the front lane and gets into you. Especially if you play Decidueye, if you play Glaceon, you can be assassinated by good Lucarios. Actually, I don't know.
I think I'm wrong, like putting him on A+ because he's so good. But I personally think you can run other things over Lucario and
Nah, I don't think it's Yes, it's A plus for sure.
Plus as well. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of agree. It's not bad at all. I think E-Speed's definitely the way to go right now. I love Power Punch. I personally play Power Up Punch, but with just so much farm on the map, and like you said, the Swablues, it feels like there's always a big chunk of enemies up. And like Adesu said, just the ability to get through the entire enemy team to those squishy Pokemon you want to get to. I think it's really solid. But I also have noticed that you don't need to have it in a team comp, which is interesting. There are a lot of the all-rounders are really interesting right now because they're all pretty solid. Not all of them. A lot of them are pretty solid, but you also don't need them, which is weird.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but a good Pokemon for sure. I mean, Lucario's never not been great.
Going to Charizard. I think
I like Char right now.
I didn't see a lot of Charizards, but the Charizards I saw weren't that good. But when I saw my teammate, for example, Geese or other Charizards, they were always doing something on the map. Because the map is so big and no one really wants to take the farm, if you play a team composition it's gonna be annoying and you need an attacker that leads the farm, Charizard is your man. He can farm the entire map. He has great early game. Once he gets level 5, he has great mobility. And once he gets level 9, he can just use your ultimate, farm ultimate back, use ultimate, farm ultimate back. Like a circle. You use your ultimate, make something, you run away, farm. And I think Charizard is a really strong teamfight Pokemon, and it can also one-shot one of the few top-tier Pokemons right now. So I feel like Charizard is really, really strong. His ultimate can get cancelled, and there's bad habits, like bad things about it. But I feel like Charizard is a solid A+ right now. Not S, because I still think you can run over Charizard with Mime and one-shot them, but I feel like Charizard is really, really strong.
You can play Charizard right now in a very different kinds of ways. You can sneak in a pass and wait for the squeeze attack target to appear and just try to kill him. You can play against the front line, just kiting them with flamethrower and fire blast. Like, yeah, he can do many stuff in every fight. But you need to be very careful with Charizard. You cannot die at first, ever. You need to hold your ultimate. You cannot ultimate a Mine when he has ultimate. You cannot ultimate a Mew when he has ultimate. You can actually ult Glaceon and will kill Glaceon if he has ultimate, but be careful of his passive. Like you have to keep in mind so many styles. You cannot play Charizard randomly like crazy. You have to be patient. You have to be good at it for sure.
Yeah, I really like Char right now. I thought I wouldn't like it so much, just with Unite move changes. I thought, oh, is Char's Unite move going to take too big of a hit? And it feels like it's not as good as it was, but it's still really solid. And like you said, Ghatule, it farms like crazy. So Char just moves around the map so easily, and it arrives to every single fight with a Unite, which is pretty impactful. So I really like Char right now.
I think Machamp has lost its value.
What do you mean? Machamp is crack. A+. Submission OP. With blue buff. This is
I think
impressive.
Machamp, let me clarify. I think Machamp is a good Pokemon, but I also think Machamp is a bad Pokemon. I think because the map has so much farm and it can get level 30 easily, it can be really, really strong. But I feel like every time I see a Machamp, he doesn't do anything. Like, I'm not sure.
I
don't know.
Disagree, completely disagree. This
Okay,
Pokemon has the biggest, it still has the best ultimate in the game. If you hit a good ultimate, you win, you insta win the fight, and you are playing, like, it's so good at pushing Regieleki, at defending Regieleki. Okay, it doesn't have the greatest early game, but it's fine. Like, it is worth it in mid game and late game, in my opinion. Submission got a actual buff. I don't feel this. Okay, it's not good, but I think now it's usable. Like if you flash into someone, like you get submission cooldown once you use it, so you can actually double submission people if you play with blue buff for some reason and amplifier. Like, it's not bad at all for sure. Submission is not bad at all right now. And also you will have dynamic pants with edge button that you can one shot any backlaner in the game. Always. You have
right.
Like, if you have this tool, this Pokemon cannot be bad with this ultimate.
Like,
it's impossible.
where would you put it? for your thoughts?
Not sure. Like probably A minus.
Like I personally um disagree because I think Machamp. I don't know why, but I feel like because everyone is kiting, everyone is running around doing whatever he wants, and everyone is just doing his own thing.
Yeah, but
Machamp
this
kinda
Pokemon has
loses.
become an assassin, not a fighter anymore. You know.
Yeah,
Now
maybe if you
it's
think
like an
about
assassin.
if you have a different mindset, Machamp will be better. I just didn't see any Machamp doing great things. That's why I don't like it. But what do you think, Sparkles?
That's exactly where I feel like it's not bad at all, and I never see it do something useful right now. And it's weird because I can't even fully put that into words why this is happening to Machamp. It's not a bad Pokemon. It does good damage. It's solid. It's like Unite move, like Adesu said, can be amazing. But for some reason, I just feel like I don't see it doing that much in these matches. I personally don't like submission at all, but that's total personal preference. I just think that move, I just don't like the way it performs. I'm sure some of the best players in the world, like you two, could make great use out of that move. I personally am still just like, please don't use submission. Please use dynamic punch. But I feel the same as you, Ghatule. I think this is a really good Pokemon, and I rarely see it do something on this new map for whatever reason. And I guess I'd have to think longer about why that is, but I'm just super unimpressed by Machamp right now. Still great, but I don't know. I just don't see it that useful.
I think that this has a point. If a Pokemon has an ultimate that can completely like change the flow of the fight and can look for openings, it can be always useful.
Without
I just don't know
question.
why. Like I just don't know what to say. Like I see a Machamp, he doesn't do anything. I think A- is fine, but I would personally put it on B+.
I think
If Adesu agrees
I think
with it,
I think
but
A minus. I mean, Adesu thinks it's higher. I also think we're still talking about a really good Pokemon, and maybe I haven't seen the way to play it right in this meta. So I feel like A minus is maybe more fair because it's not. I can't say it's
not
bad. It's not
no.
bad.
It's not bad at all. Like,
Yeah.
but you had to have a very different mindset. Like, okay,
Yeah,
in the previous
guess.
meta, my chance usually run into like as front laners. They just step in and try to ultimate so many people as they can. Right now, you don't have to play like this. You have to go into the enemy back lane. You have to be annoying, make the back laners of the enemy team actually like fear you. You know, like they should be really scared of you. Because you are there lurking for them and waiting for an opportunity to one-shot them because you one-shot them as Machamp. You just one-shot attackers. Glaceon should be very, very scared of Machamp.
Let's see, Dragonite.
No.
Yeah, Desu, where do you put Dragonite?
No. Just no. Okay, Dragonite has a new tech with Blue Buff that if you play like 2% cooldown in Black Runes, you can Dragon Dance without dealing a single auto attack. But even with this new tool that they give Dragonite, I think it's still bad. You cannot do nothing against Mine. Like if Mine is there, you auto attack Mine, you can get power swap by Mine, and then you never can reach out of his range anymore, and you cannot kill Mine. Like I tried this character against Mine so many times, and I feel useless. And he's not a good he's not a good lurker or an assassin. Like if you jump into the enemy backlane, it doesn't have that impact, right? Like any other Pokemon like Absol, like Talonflame, it needs time to kill people. You need time to kill people. It doesn't burst.
Yeah.
And it's not like before where stealing a Dreadnought was so, you could just set it up with this Hyper Beam. Now if you steal Regice, you're like, okay. I mean, what did we get out of this?
Also that the secure and one thing I tried this morning with Dragonite is like Dragonite cannot hit Rayquaza from the top, right or left. You need to be at the bottom of Rayquaza, so you must be there, and that is exactly where mine was. So if you want to actually flip Rayquaza as Dragonite, you need to be like in the middle or right below, and I don't like that at all. Because you cannot hit at the top anymore. You could hit Tatos from outside the pit, but right now you cannot, and that makes the character even worse.
Thinking about a competitive way of perspective, I think like what Adesu said is true. I personally didn't play Dragonite yet, but I also think like Dragonite has some good uses. If you play competitively and you know what the Pokemon is capable of, it's good in securing. Once you get to level 5, it has a good like engagement on the bot lane or top lane because it can kill Pokemon easily with X attack. But I feel like, yeah, like I don't know, this Pokemon is just like you don't need to object this. I just sometimes think that Dragonite can be really useful. For example, in scoring compositions.
Yeah,
Where he plays
it's still got
Ah,
that.
yeah.
It's got its
There
unite.
maybe.
It's got you got a score button. I even thought about that. Like, is Dragonite gonna come back with that? Hey, we're fighting in the center. I'm literally gonna unite back to your base, and I'm gonna score 100 really quick, and then come back. Like, is that gonna happen again? It totally could.
I think we need to, like, because it's a competitive tier list, we need to have a mindset of what can a Pokemon, what is it capable of? Even though there's a Mime, there's a Mew, and there's a Glaceon, it has good secure, it doesn't fall off, it gets level 8 and Dragonite, it gets Hyper Beam. Okay, we can say it's not that good against the others and it kind of falls off, but it can secure and it can score in enemy faces. with
I kinda
level
like
5.
the early game of the Pokemon, but there's
Yeah.
another problem that Dragonite has is like the meta Pokemons can dodge Hyper Beam very easily. Icy Wind dodge Hyper Beam, Agility from me or Coaching dodge Hyper Beam. How do you kill those Pokemons? Like, how?
I would put Dragonite in B+, because I think it has uses. Like, it's definitely not the worst Pokemon. It's not bad. It's not great. It's good. It's decent. Like, it has uses, so I would put it in B+, rather
Like,
than B. Because it's
Chari-
also...
More things. Charizard cancels your Hyper Beam, Greninja dodge, Delphos dodge, Lucario dodge, the Snorlax dodge, like everyone dodge Hyper Beam right now.
So,
not
do
good.
you guys...
Sadly, but it's not good anymore.
It's interesting because I feel like the same conversation we're having about Dragonite in a different way is kind of the same thing we were saying about Machamp, where it's like, this Pokemon's not terrible, but it's like, what does it do now? Yeah, I think B+ or A- is fair, especially if someone maybe is trying more score-heavy focused play with it, but boy, yeah, I think with objectives being less useful and you just not needing to be level 8 in the bot path for a Dreadnought or something, I don't know what you do with a Pokemon like this. Its range is small too. Like, just getting outranged by Icy Wind, you can never get near a Glaceon, ever. No way.
The
Yeah.
first thing is, we played Dragonite in a team practice of us, and we played Dragonite with a flipping composition. Like, we flipped away without losing any HP and losing the shield, and after we flipped it, we immediately went away, because everyone had movement speed because of the shield, like because of the movement speed buff. So like, there was a moment we lost the game, but we flipped away, and then because someone expected us to flip away. So like, if the enemy cannot predict what you do with the Pokemon, it can be useful. So I feel like B+ is fair for now, and we go to another Pokemon now.
Sure.
But again, while you flip with Dragonite, you have to be in that small zone, you know? Like, you cannot Dragon Dance away at the top side and make the enemy team follow you. No, you have to be right below the Rayquaza to deal damage to Rayquaza. And that's a very dangerous spot. So it's not good for flipping, because you get the stun, you get Mine Ultimate, you get everything.
So that's like, as a Dragonite player, and I think the best Dragonite, what do you think? B+ or B for the current season?
B+.
You're asking me?
I like
Oh, Adesu,
Pokemon is-
right. Yes, he's the best dragon. That makes sense. That's right. I of course thought you meant me. That's right.
I'm sorry.
That's right.
Alright, Tsareena.
Tsarena's freaking
I-
good, but weird, right? Mime really messes with Tsareena, but Tsarena's still great, I think.
But Tsareena can just not fight Mine anytime
Yeah,
in the game.
it
Like,
can't
you
fight
don't
Mime.
need to. Like, I feel like Tsareena is like Talonflame. Like, he can do so many stuff. You can invade in the jungle. You can just outrun people. Like, if you saw how Mame played against us in the wars, like, he was outrunning us. Like, just run, secure things, make time. You can do the same thing as Tsareena. Like, you don't need to stomp onto the enemies. And also, you can stomp into Mew. You can stomp into Glaceon. This Pokemon is not bad. I don't know. I heard so many people saying Tsareena is bad, because they nerf 10% of stomp damage. Okay, they nerf 10% of stomp damage. Tsareena has more damage than just stomp. Auto attacks, drop kits, ultimate. Maybe the damage output they nerf is 6% or 5%. The character still does the same thing. The Sylph is not nerfed from drop kick. The character is still the same. It's fine. It's good.
I think like Cinderace in a weird spot. Like as Spragels said, Mime can Mime can deny Cinderace, and he can just stun her and kills her. But again, like if you have a different mindset and you play Tsareena in a different way, you could be using more the Pokemon. Because I feel like a lot of Pokemon, like a lot of players, still have the mindset of the old map. Like using this Pokemon like you would use in the old map. And if you run in like with Tsareena against a Mime and other Pokemon, you will just get one shot and you can't do anything. I feel like I'm also one of them that says Tsareena is not that good. But I feel like Tsareena can make places, she can open plays, and she can kind of do whatever she wants once she gets ahead. Once she gets ahead, she's really strong. I also feel like Triple Axel could be useful. I think Triple Axel is a good ability. I don't think it's bad.
Yeah, it's not
Great.
bad.
Triple Absol is better for stealing farm for sure. Maybe that's why some people prefer it.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think Triple Axel's decent. I think Stomp is still good. I don't think they've really changed too much about it. Of course, we've changed the way we're fighting, and we have different Pokemon that are at the top of the map, which is, or the top of the tier list, which is always a consideration for any Pokemon. But I think if I'm looking at Tsareena and I'm looking at Machamp, Dragonite, I'm looking at all these Pokemon, I think it outclasses definitely almost every other all-rounder on this board still. I think it's great. But you might have to play it in a different way. I don't know. And its ult is really, really impactful if you can land a good one. If you can drop kick in and get to the person you want to get to, that's huge. So I think A is fair. I think it might even be up into the A+, but maybe it's gotten hurt too much. I don't know. But I think A is pretty fair.
Again, I feel like Tsareena is like Machamp. You don't need to play this character as a front laner. Like you don't want to fight against the front lane. You need to be lurking behind the enemy lanes every time. Like so the front lane has to decide if they go behind to protect the Tsareena or they just hold position at the front. Once the fight is on, you just engage into the enemy backlane and make chaos. Like you don't need to engage all in into the thrill of the fight, into the middle of the fight. No.
Yeah.
Just go in, go out, go in, go out.
Yeah, it is
be annoying.
No, right? Because we need to move on to the next rounders.
Yeah.
Alright, I think Aegislash is great. I would put Aegislash in A+, because I feel like Aegislash has a lot of good uses. It has a good secure potential on bot lane. It kind of lagged in the old map to get level 7, to get ahead. But I feel like Aegislash is a really good laner right now. It has the potential to score a lot. It can run away. There's not really like a lot of Pokemon that deny the XP because there's so much XP. And once you get level 7, you can snowball enemies really hard. You can deny XP, you can farm XP, and you can do lots of stuff in different team compositions, thinking about competitively. And it has a great secure. Its ultimate is so strong, it's so impressive. And if you play Aegislash around the enemy cooldowns, it can be really, really good. I think Aegislash is a great Pokemon.
Yeah, I happen to agree. I think Aegislash is great. It's weird looking at this list and seeing Tsareena below these other three, just because I think Tsareena is still really, really great too. But Aegislash is really nice. Whenever you're dealing with... It's weird. It does well against bulky Pokemon, and it does well against squishy Pokemon. And it fights really well, and it has incredible mobility. It's just a really solid choice. I haven't seen it too much. If I'm being honest, I feel like I keep getting surprised that I don't see much Aegislash, but have you run into a lot of it when you're playing higher level teams or competitively? Because I just feel like I don't see it a ton right now.
Played the tournament. I played against Potato. He played Aegislash, and I played Aegislash as well. I feel like Aegislash has a lot of good uses if you are a good Aegislash player. Again, thinking about competitive, if you are great on Aegislash, you will do great with it. If you are bad, you will just be a burden to your team.
Yeah.
Because you need to practice Aegislash. Aegislash needs practice, and it has so many potential uses. And I don't think it falls off. Like, Rafa always said that Aegislash is good against Mime. Adesu doesn't understand why Aegislash is good against Mime, because Mime one-shots Aegislash. But
I kinda understand that if you shield, you have 3 stacks, and okay, you get some lucky crits by using the sword mode. You can kill mine and you go back into the shield, so mine cannot kill you. But I don't feel like Aegislash easily kills mine. Like, you need more than 20 seconds to kill my mine 1v1. That's what I feel.
It's just like, I feel like Aegislash can make places, he can secure objectives, he can run away, he can protect the lane, and he can be annoying. I feel like Pokemon that are annoying are good.
I totally agree. I love annoying Pokemon. It's my favorite thing. I think it's fair.
Let's go to Azumarill.
I never tried this Pokemon. I never see one in this new map.
No.
Don't know why actually.
This Pokemon's no good. I don't know. What do you do with this? I would love to see teams dominate with this. I feel like the Unite move nerf hurt this Pokemon. Maybe it hurt it maybe more than any other almost.
Yeah.
This I just think this Pokemon's so tough. The biggest thing with this, and you run into this with any tier list, this is the point of tiering them, right? Is you would say, what on earth would you switch out for Azumarill? It would be so weird to do. It's not impossible, and it's not that you couldn't do well with it, but it's like, what do you switch out for Azumarill? That's just my thought on it. I don't know what you would use, what you would switch for Azumarill.
I just feel like because there's so many Pokemon with so much agility, like they can just easily outrun Azumarill. I feel like Azumarill used to be good when it was really strong because it one-shots people and it can make big plays and big fights. But I feel like this new map, everyone is just running around. Everyone is running around, scoring, doing what they want, doing what they are good at. Azumarill is also good at what she can do, but like what Azumarill is capable of. But again, there are other Pokemon that are just better on the things you can do.
That's what it feels like to me. And also, its Unite move used to feel more like an assassination, like it's a bit of a delete button, but now it doesn't even get as crazy when it unites. So you took one of the saving graces of Azumarill and you kind of hurt it a little bit with this Unite move change. At least that's what it felt like to me when I've seen it or played it. It just doesn't feel like much of a force. I don't know if you play it much, Adesu.
Yeah.
I like it this Pokemon so much in the previous map that it is true. Yeah, I think it also has some uses like despite what you said, you play this ultimate like an assassination ultimate, right? If you manage to do this and clear the actual Glaceon of the enemy team or even Mew is harder because he has the ultimate, he has Surf. Like, nah, it's not good. Like, you're right. Like, I cannot kill Mine, I cannot kill Mew. Maybe you can kill Glaceon, but
a little bit. I mean, it has Snow Cloak, so you don't even knock it up really, and it could just Icy Wind and kind of get away from you. Nah. You don't have the move speed anymore, so you'd have to chase. It's just, you would think its job is like, I'm going to Unite Glaceon, I'm gonna get past everybody, and I'm going to delete it. But it doesn't even do that good of a job at that. At least that's what it feels like to me.
So we agree that it's solid beat.
Sure.
Yeah,
it's bad.
Yeah. Hey, bees for Buzzwole. I don't know. I think this Pokemon is super undertuned.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes I feel like Buzzwole is A, but other times I feel like he's B. Depends on the matchup so much, like so much, and on how your team plays. Buzzwole has one of the best engage in the game, in my opinion, with Flash and Smackdown, but like it has the lowest win rate in the game as well. And we cannot deny this fact as well.
Yeah, it's not a coincidence.
We cannot place him high for sure.
Like what I like about Buzzwole, and because it's a competitive tier list, win rate doesn't matter if the enemy, like if people don't know what the Pokemon is capable of. Again, watching my teammate Adesu, competitive player, professional, and he plays Buzzwole really well. Like the way he plays Buzzwole, he has a different mindset of other Buzzwole players. He makes plays, he opens, engages, and he does this weird stuff where I just feel safe. I can see what Adesu is doing, and I think Buzzwole is good. Like Adesu says, Buzzwole is not that great, but then I see Adesu doing stuff with Buzzwole, and he says it misses something. So I think it's interesting. Like again, like I don't know what Machamp is doing in this current meta. It's weird, but it's still A- because it has uses, and I feel like Buzzwole can do a lot of stuff, but people don't see what a Buzzwole can do. Like it's actually so strong. It can get full life with one leech life. From one leech life, it gets full life. It can see the enemies. It's a surprise effect, and I think if you watch Adesu play Buzzwole, you think, what is this Pokemon? I don't recognize this Pokemon anymore.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a good team, Buzzwole can one-shot mine. Like not one-shot, but you can give your team an opportunity to one-shot mine for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
But they had to.
I agree with you that this Pokemon, especially in the hands of a competitive team, would be much higher than it would be in any other setting. And I bet you could play really well and have this Pokemon shine, especially when it has a level lead. When this Pokemon has a level lead, I think it's really, really mean. But every Buzzwole I ever see, sometimes the way I view a tier list sometimes is I think, how stressed am I if I see this on the enemy team? And if the answer is 0, then for me it goes a little lower. So I don't think it's necessarily, it's not as bad as its win rate might show, but I don't think it's very impressive. I don't know. I think I bet Adesu could do some insane things, and I'm sure the best Buzzwoles out there would put on a show for sure.
It's just like a Smackdown plus Leech Life is more than 3 seconds of CC straight plus 50% of health of almost any target.
Yeah, like I wouldn't put Buzzwole under Machamp, like in comparison. I think Buzzwole and Machamp both have good uses if you have a good player. If you see, for example, in Firefight, there was Drovix, an insane Machamp player making plays all over the place because he plays Machamp really well, but other Machamp players fall off. So I feel like if you agree with me and you trust me with the A-, I think Buzzwole is a solid A-.
I will absolutely agree with both of you and yield to your expertise any day of the week.
That's very bad matches. I don't know. I don't think he deserves A-. Like you win or lose in the loading screen, like Blaine said. Like if all the enemy team outranged you, you have really bad time. You will have a really bad time for sure.
So in a competitive perspective, it's risky. So
it's risky for sure.
So B+ then maybe.
Yeah.
It's also one of those Pokemon, no matter how good you are, you can still miss. And when you miss with Buzzwole, what a horrible Pokemon to miss with. It's just so sad when you miss your moves with this Pokemon.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. We can move on.
Alright, going to Tyranitar, my most played Pokemon this season. I think Tyranitar is a really strong Pokemon. It is so impressive. But looking at this meta and everyone running away from Tyranitar and just being annoying, and Tyranitar is just a running child that can't do anything, I feel like Tyranitar is an A, because I feel like Tyranitar is a really strong Pokemon. It's so strong when the meta changes again, because when you use your Unite, you can execute enemies. When you use Ancient Power, you can get big shields. When you use Dark Bolts, you can secure easily. It has a decent early game, to be fair. I think it's good in early game. It has good secure, it can run away, it is tanky, and it just needs level 9. Once it hits level 9, it's really strong. But because of the other Pokemon that just outshine Tyranitar so much and just run away, and Tyranitar can't really do anything, expect a good Tyranitar like catches people, I don't think a Tyranitar is that great compared to like the other high tiers. That's why I put it on A, because I think Tyranitar is really strong.
I like Tyranitar, not gonna lie. I feel that this Pokemon just go forward. People are really afraid of it, so he makes a lot of time. Then he has like one of the biggest shield, plus Sandstorm gives him the tankiness it needs. The ultimate is very good, and honestly, it's the best Pokemon for defending points right now. Like, no matter if the enemy team gets Rayquaza, you have Tyranitar, you can know this Pokemon can solo 1 point for a fair amount of seconds. I really like Tyranitar. I think he's a good Pokemon.
Yeah, like I would agree to put it a bit higher, but because of this meta, I wouldn't put it higher. Because as a Tyranitar player myself, it just felt like everyone around me just runs me away. Like, maybe because I'm too annoyed about Mime. I just don't like Mime because Mime makes my Greedent worse, Mime makes my Tyranitar worse. That's why I don't want to play Tyranitar into a Mime, even though it's so good. What do you think, Spragels?
I like Tyranitar. I feel like it actually would have shined a lot more on the previous map and in the previous meta. I mean, I think it does really well, especially when it has sort of a pocket support like a Blissey. We don't see that as much anymore. And the thing that you brought up that's just really important is it does feel like everyone is more spread out. We're away from the Pokemon more. We're away. you used to have these fights that were a lot more predictable, that they were sort of a big 5-on-5, and you just don't even see the same makeup of these fights anymore. Pokemon very far away, like Mew or something like that, or Decidueye, as you have very high on this list. So it feels like it used to actually be better. It used to probably be up in the S tier just with how the game was played before. And now I think A is fine. A or A minus. I think it's still really solid. The point about being able to defend a goal, though, is so true. It's great at defending a goal for sure.
Yeah.
Also rough early. Kind of rough early. I mean,
when the
it's
enemy
not the
does
worst secure,
Rayquaza,
but kind of rough.
when the enemy does Rayquaza and I have Ghatule playing Tyranitar, I feel really safe, not gonna lie.
Yep, that's true.
I feel like when I play Tyranitar and the rest of the Decidueye, I can do whatever I want. Because even if I tank everything, and this Decidueye is just behind me, doing tons of damage. And that's why I think Tyranitar deserves the A for now. If the meta changes, it could be higher. We will see. Now going into the Speedsters. The Speedsters.
So good.
I feel like the Speedsters are so good right now because of the new map.
Mm-hmm.
It has like lots of uses. I think Gengar is really strong right now, but I also think it's a bit overrated in the competitive scene. I don't think Gengar is gonna be really high. I think it's a solid AG as well.
I think in normal play, you're looking at one of the best Pokemon in the game right now. Gengar's insane. It's just crazy. But yeah, competitive, you're not going to be able to catch people the same way you can get 30 kills in sort of a normal game. So I was wondering where you might put these Speedsters. It's weird because Speedsters, I feel like, incredibly difficult to balance. They're either amazing or terrible at any given point in the game. And of course, that's part of it's the meta at any given time. But now also, each one of these Speedsters really does well when they have experience. And that was one of the things that was always tough with them. There just wasn't enough experience for them. And now there is. So I can't wait to see where you want to put all these. I think Gengar's super mean, but maybe a little predictable for competitive. I don't know. It's still pretty freaking brutal.
Gengar is annoying, like really annoying. When I play Decidueye, it's probably the Pokemon I have the terrible nightmares of Gengar. Like that's what he did, eating my dreams, right? Yeah. This ultimate is so annoying. Like I cannot play safely with Decidueye until Gengar uses his ultimate and misses, because I had to actually make it miss. Like I cannot show myself ever when Gengar is in game, and Gengar can one-shot Glaceon, can one-shot Mew. He just needs to be patient. He can one-shot most of the A+ tier right now. I don't know. Gengar is really strong. The only bad thing he has is the early game. Like if the enemy team invades you and you are not strong enough, okay, that's his biggest weakness right now. But
like looking in competitive, like do you think Gengar could be a potential S or A+, because it can get denied? If you play Dream Eater, you can get stunned by almost mine. If you play Hex, you can play Foley or Blizzy. Like competitively thinking, what do you think would be Gengar right now?
Gengar, I don't know. I think A+ is the right spot. Maybe
I think
like one of the lowest A+, like Ninja,
yeah.
like we said, the Ninja is legit one of the lowest A+. Yeah, I think Gengar will be really good if we have a draft mode, because Gengar's counter pick is one of the best picks in this game.
So like, do we agree that Gengar is A+? I think it is really strong. It's really impressive.
It does.
In a solo queue way of thinking, I would put it in S or S+, but because it's competitive, you can counter Gengar with Snorlax. You can do lots of stuff to like deny the Gengar.
Also, one thing about this map is it has so many boosters. Like Gengar can lurk in any of these boosters, right? You just need to be patient and wait for the backline to get close and just one-shot them, because you one-shot them easily.
Yeah. I mean, I think Gengar is so freaking mean. I haven't seen it at the highest level of competitive play, but I think it's so incredibly mean. And when I look at our A+ tier, I mean, it kind of feels like it does a similar job to Greninja, but just better in almost every way. It doesn't farm the same exactly, but even whether you're playing Hex or Dream Eater, I mean, if your job is to kind of wait for your big moments, Gengar also has them. I just think it's great. It's so great, but maybe a team won't find a great spot for it, but gosh, Gengar is so mean right now.
Yeah, and just keep in mind, if you miss with Gengar, it's really bad.
Yeah, it's really
If
bad.
you miss with Gengar,
It's really bad. When they miss a
don't want to
Dream
miss
Eater,
it,
you're
yeah.
like, let's go. Let's freaking
Yeah.
go.
That's why you wait in a boost for someone to go
Yeah.
in and you won't miss.
Alright guys, let's go to... I wanna go for Talonflame for the last, because I wanna talk about Talonflame a lot. So we go for Zeraora first.
Okay.
I think Zeraora is a great A tier. I think because of the new map, Zeraora can farm a lot. It has great teamfight potential. It is really strong. It is really impressive. If a great Zeraora player does great stuff, it can help the team a lot. It can fight on top lane, and it can jump to the enemies easily. I think Zeraora is one of the best speedsters, but I feel like you could run something over Zeraora to have a better early game and mid game.
Like, not gonna lie, you look at the matches of Ferrara, if he's 1v1, like any one of the high tiers, Ferrara should win. Like, he can dodge Psychic with Wild Charge if you play Wild Charge. You can one-shot Mew, you can one-shot Decidueye, you can one-shot Glaceon actually. Legit, this Pokemon is really good. I kind of like Wild Charge. I tried it yesterday and it felt so good. Also, if you play cooldown reduction with Blue Buff, if you do a Wild Charge, when the Wild Charge ends, you have 2 seconds for the next Wild Charge. If you dodge those 2 seconds with Sparks and then another Wild Charge, it's going to be really, really annoying.
Yeah. Like, I wasn't trying to get level 6 on Zeraora early. Like, you can easily get level 6 as a jungler if no one invades you.
Yep.
I could put it on A+ if you guys think it's that great.
Not really.
But I think it's a solid A. Like, let's see a Sprockets
I mean,
first. Like,
A
what do you think
is
from
like
experience?
such a good category. It's not saying anything bad about it. I think Zera is awesome. Experience hungry Pokemon do so much better on this map. Zeraora is so experience hungry, but like you said, you can now make it to one of the 850 Swablu fights at level 6. So you actually have your second move. It is a bit of a delete button for these squishier Pokemon. I was impressed with a few Spark Wild Charge Zeras I saw recently. Like, yeah, they're avoiding tons of damage. And like Adesu said, I was shocked how fast Wild Charge came back when you had a blue buff. It came back so fast. I was even saying to my chat after it deleted me, I was like, how did that happen? How does it have Wild Charge again? And they're like, blue buff was just ready to go. I'm like, I guess.
Yeah,
So it's pretty good.
Yeah. Also, if you have Registeel buff with Zeraora, it's crazy. It's super crazy. Because with the passive, he has one of the highest attack in the game. He gets plus 20%. If he plays Edge attack, oh my god, of course you get one shot, no matter what you do.
Yeah, I think it's cool. The Speedsters are just in such a cool spot. They needed XP, and now they have tons of it. And when they have a level lead, they're so incredibly mean. A feels really solid. I bet someone could play that really well. Either build.
Even if he's behind, he can get ahead easily with comeback XP.
Yeah.
He kills so easily.
Alright, going on to the next speedster, Absol. I think Absol is a pretty good A+ as well. I feel like Absol is so impressive. Like, you could run him in the jungle with Pursuit, going to the lane and just one-shotting the enemy team. Like, when the jungler doesn't know where the Absol is and he ganks the wrong lane, the other side of the lane is gonna be destroyed if the Absol makes the play correctly and if the enemies are greedy for XP. Like, if you set up a perfect ganking position for Absol, he can easily kill the top lane like really fast and score 30 points. And once he scores, like when you play with attack weight at least, you get really ahead. Like, when I had a game where 2 people were ganking me, I was a level 3, I think, not sure which Pokemon anymore, but I was level 3 and the Absol was level 8. And he was just keep pressuring me. He is great on the top lane, he is great on bot lane as well, I think. Like, you can run him you can run him everywhere. You can also send him to gank early. So that's why, that's what made Pokemon is strong. I think Pokemon that can go any lane are pretty strong. And that's why I think Absol deserves the A+, because he is so impressive.
Yeah, Absol's the speedster I've spent the least amount of time with. in the new patch, but I think it's actually doing really well. And surprisingly enough, I see a lot of people playing Pursuit with it and doing very well. And the big thing is exactly what you said. You get these Pokemon to have kind of an absurd level lead, a way bigger level lead than you feel like you would have had on the previous map. And now all of a sudden, you've got this Absol that does 3,000 damage critical hits walking into path against these level 4 and 5 Pokemon. It's like level 11 already. It's pretty mean. So I like it a lot. Me personally, I think I probably have it maybe closer to Zeraora, but I might be wrong about that. I personally think I'm overvaluing Gengar maybe a bit, but yeah, A or A plus, it's really good.
Yep. Yes, but don't forget how fast can Absol make a lead for your team. Like once you are level 5, this Pokemon is crazy. Like he can invade. He's good at securing in early game. Okay, not the best secure, but he has a solid secure, right? And once you are level 5, you can just go into the enemy jungle and how speed he clears everything. Like, you miss your buff, okay, 2 seconds, Absol kills the blue buff, kills the red buff, and he leaves. Like, in 10 seconds, he clears the whole enemy jungle. And if you spot him, he can just run. This is crazy. Like, how fast he clears the whole map, he will get always a high level. And that's it. Like, it's just a high level over level character that it's running, and if you are really good at it, you won't die easily, and you will make a difference for sure. It's super good. Also, he's good against Mew. He's good against Decidueye. He's solid against Glaceon, especially if you play Sucker Punch for dodging the Icy Wind.
Moving to the last Pokemon, my favorite Pokemon right now, and I think the best speedster, if I over-exaggerate, but like personally, I would put Talonflame on S, but because I know the limits and I know competitive has lots of stuff to do, I would put it in A+. I felt like when I played Talonflame with my build, I played Talonflame with Floatstone, Cookie, and
Score Shield.
Score Shield, and Golgadon. It just felt like I could do whatever I wanted. Like, I gave my bot laner the blue buff because I only needed the blue buff. I ganked top lane and scored to get level 5. I got level 7 before the bees, like before the middle Swablues at 8 minutes. And I was just so oppressive. I was able to do whatever I wanted. And I feel like when I play this Pokemon in competitive, I feel like I can do the same. Like the same that I did in Ladder in competitive as well. I don't know what is this about, like Talonflame, but it just felt like Talonflame is great. He's one of the best Pokemon. I feel like compared to the Decidueye that can one-shot enemies through the other side of the map, Talonflame cannot do it. He doesn't do a lot of damage if you play it this way, but the way he plays is like Greedent, but Mime doesn't really do anything against Talonflame. Glaceon can't kill Talonflame if he flies over the AC Wind, and Mew kinda gets one-shot by Talonflame as well. I feel like Talonflame is such in a great spot right now.
Yeah.
Not sure about the Mew thing, but the rest is fine. I just left you to Ghatule because you played the bird so many games, and like I didn't play the bird that much, and I didn't play against many birds as well, so don't have a solid opinion on this. Spragels?
I'm not a competitive player like you two, but I'm playing this Pokemon so much. I think it's so freaking amazing. It does really counter Glaceon too, because if it wants to hit you with an Icy Wind, you're just in the air. I mean, your Mew's boosted attacks. You can fly into the air and it will miss you. It doesn't hit you with these 2,000 damage boosted attacks. And then the whole time your score... It's so perfectly set up for this map. It's so amazing. You can make it to a goal zone and score and get right back into a fight, land on them with a fly. It's just so good. I love it, and I think I'm too biased. Right now, I think it's my favorite Pokemon in the game by far, and I would probably put it in the S tier, but I'm not playing the kind of teams you are all playing. Maybe it doesn't line up there for you all, but I freaking love Talonflame right now.
Like, I would put Talonflame in S as well. I think it's so impressive. I think competitively, people won't expect, if they don't experience the Talonflame the way I play, they won't expect me to play the tournament. Like, I feel like I could do so much of Talonflame. I can do whatever I want. People can't deny me. When it's coming down to the end game engagement, which is really important, what I do is I just counter score, and even if they stop me, they can't do anything. They can't catch me. They can't stop me. Even if they chase me, my teammates are gonna engage on the teammates that are left alone. If they just only put one on the side, I can still outrun them and score on the other side of the map.
Yep.
Like then again, like if the Osamon is bot lane side and he tries to stop me, and I just use ultimate to top lane side and score, they can't stop me. They need at least 2 people to stop me, and Talonflame is so great. Like, the reason I didn't want to put it on S is because I feel like Decidueye is... Like, after he gets his powers back, he's so oppressive, but I feel like Talonflame is also an S. But I don't know if Adesu agrees with me. I don't know. I played 22 games and I won 100% win rate. It's just...
I don't know. Like, I didn't watch you playing today, so I just trust you.
I think it's so good, but in a competitive setting, I would love to see it. I just feel like, man, you have to do. It's either it's gonna score or you're going to put resources into stopping it, and then both of those are just so powerful. If you have a score shield and a goal getter, at 2 minutes, you have 100 points that's either going in or the enemy has to deal with you, and you get out 99% of the time. And then at 30 seconds, you have that exact same play. You have another 100 points that can go in with a score shield. I don't know. It's so sick. Again, you guys are the experts. I just freaking love Talon right now. It's so sick.
Also, there's a super good thing about Talonflame is when he uses ultimate, he receives 15% less damage. That works for shields as well. So if he places score shield after using ultimate, you can land even, those sneaky scores even if someone is defending at the very late game.
It's probably not.
Really
it's probably not S. But one thing to say about it is it's such an extreme playmaker. And it will win games. So, I mean, that's the interesting thing about a Pokemon like this. It is, you will win unwinnable games with it, which I think is very cool. So, maybe, I think I'm probably too hot on it right now, but it's a great Pokemon.
I'm gonna put it in this tier. Like, I'm gonna make a brave play, but
heck yeah.
People may disagree with me, but I'm gonna put it in this tier. What do you guys think? Like, giving 10 seconds to the...
Okay, we made the meme tier list. When is the real one?
Yeah, we spent 2 hours making a meme tier list. Let's do the real one. I think this is a pretty good list. I think, me personally, I think I'm probably rating Talonflame too high. I can't wait to see what you all do with Decidueye because I'm kind of shocked that it's that high personally. Without question, Glaceon, Mew, Mime, they're insane right now. A and A plus tier, all really solid Pokemon. I'm trying to see if there's anything on here that I'm kind of surprised by. Maybe I still need to see Buzzwole work in some sort of team comp because I'm also just kind of like, what do you do with this guy? But in general, this all makes a lot of sense to me. I was also a little, I mean, the more that I look at it, maybe Delphox and maybe it goes 1 lower, or maybe Greninja goes 1 lower, but that's just. Again, I'm splitting hairs here. And maybe Gengar goes lower. That's also just kind of me thinking that it's maybe better than it is.
Like, I don't feel Greninja is that bad as people is thinking. Like, legit, Ninja can win any of the top tier squeezy targets.
I don't think it's bad. It's just the same conversation we were having about Machamp, I have about Greninja a little bit, where it's just like, it's good, it farms well, and then I just don't see it pop off the same way I used to see Greninja pop off, but I haven't seen enough. It's all so new. So, that's probably just my bias showing. I'm like, what's Greninja doing right now?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy about this tier list. Like, again, like, I think for the people that are watching us, guys, don't think, like, this is an offensive tier list. Like, don't get offended that your main is maybe lower or higher. It's just our opinions as competitive players, and Spragels as a caster and a player himself and content creator. We just talk about this tier list, and we think, like, as 3 of us talking, we have more opinions about the things. So if you have different opinions, you can share it to us, but don't feel offended about the way we think the competitive tier list is going right now.
Oh yeah, I don't think anyone should feel offended, but also one of my favorite things about tier lists and making them and talking through them is when someone does something that sort of rocks everyone and goes, wow, I did not expect this Pokemon to be that good. You saw it low on everyone's tier list, and then, you know, such and such team brought it out and it was so good. So yeah, I think the cool thing about tier lists too is they're made to be proven wrong at points. They're made to show at some point and you went, wow, I really missed it when it came to Venusaur here. I was so off on that one. So I think that's one of the cool things about tier lists is you are making something with all of your best intentions and all the information that you have currently, and there's something in there that's wrong. For sure you're wrong about something.
Clefable is going to be A or A+.
Scyther is going to be D-, and Scissor is going to be pretty high.
Alright guys, I'm gonna take a picture, I'm gonna save it, and then we can put the other Pokemons.
Nah, I mean, this white is just too high, I guess.
Yeah, the Decidueye should be C tier. I think Glaceon should be solid B tier as well, right?
Oh, this is what I do as well. Yeah, move it all around. Move it, keep it going. Muse only A minus maybe.
Muse is pink.
I think,
doesn't deserve S+.
Yeah.
I think Mime is B+.
Mime is B+.
I feel like Cramorant
Yeah,
is
Mike
S+.
is pink as well.
Camera,
Yeah, blue is
yep,
better than pink.
for sure.
Yeah,
Machamp is
Azumarill should
actually
be S+.
Machamp is
And
actually
Machamp should
S+
be D.
currently right now.
No, S++. Yeah,
Yeah.
he has 4 arms.
That's right. That's
feel like
true.
Delphox
It's
is
4
really
arms.
bad
That's
right now,
exactly
so-
right. Delphox is terrible. Yeah.
I think Absol is also like, it gets one shot easily, so
Yep.
B+.
It's B+.
Yeah.
Greninja is too squishy.
Yep.
Put it on D.
Yeah, finally getting his deserved spot.
I feel like Gardevoir should be S+. It's very,
Exactly.
really, really strong.
Yeah, and Lucario is a furry icon, so S+ as well.
hmm
Oh yeah, that's true.
There you go. I think that's beautiful. But just put
Yeah, that's
Tyranitar in
better.
C and then you're good.
Oh yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
Pretty happy about this tier list.
Me too.
Alright guys, this is going on YouTube, so we do the shoutouts like now. In case you want to shout out your socials and stuff, Adesu, you're done.
Okay, you can follow me on Twitter for it, Adesu23 altogether, and Adesu Unite on Twitter as well. Thank you.
Can we find you, Spragels?
You can find me on YouTube and Twitch, Spragels on both of those. I make a ton of stuff like this. And this very same tier list and video I'll probably also be putting up on my channel at some point. So Ghatule, why don't you let everybody know where to find you?
You can find me on Twitch at Ghatule, you can find me on Twitter at Ghatule, and hopefully on YouTube soon as well, because this is my first tier list video for YouTube.
Nice.
Thanks for watching, everyone. See you guys.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I know it's a long one, but I think it has an incredible amount of information in it. I love you all, and I'll see you very soon. Mwah.